Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Afternoon Tune. I'm your host, Josh, and with me is my co-host today, Nick.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, good to see you, Nick. Thanks for joining me on this Sunday, man. Helping catch up on a lot of these reviews that we ended up missing there because I was gone. So thanks so much. We do have some guests coming on. We do got Chris Ayers there. We do got him, and he's going to be coming on helping review Black Mirror season 7 there, the latest season of Black Mirror. I'm gonna have Jeff come on there. Jeff from the Give Them an Argument from the Ben Burgess podcast there. He's a producer and co-host on the show. He's gonna help us do Thunderbolts and help us react to these trailers here, these superhero trailers. One for Superman and then one for Ironheart. When did they drop the Superman Legacy? When did they drop that?
That was like a year and a half ago. I think it was like right as they started production.
Oh, okay. I kind of like them having the Legacy on there. Help it differentiate between Superman and the other Superman movie. Is kind of help differentiate it. But that's fine. They just dropped it there. Do you like it that they dropped it?
I could take it or leave it because this is the start. I'll probably get more into it once we get to the trailer breakdown. But yeah, I'm like
Okay, interesting. Yeah, and we're going to be doing a spoiler review for Thunderbolts. It's been out for a few weeks. A couple weeks there. It's been out because it dropped the 15th.
It premiered May 15th, and then Marvel Studios started spoiling it. So it's like, what can we do?
Yeah, so they already said it already. So it's
it's like if you don't see a Marvel movie opening weekend, that's on you.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and get into the details of that. It's been out for a few days, so we'll do a spoiler review for it as well as a regular review. But if you haven't seen it, we'll let you know before we get into the spoiler talk there. And of course, as always, we'll go ahead and rate somebody after this stream here. Yadira is on playing that Marvel Rivals. Are you still playing that?
I'm playing it now and then, just here and there, whenever I can.
Okay. Are you going to pick up Doom Dark Ages or Cleric Expedition 31 or?
I don't know. There's some stuff. There's some projects that I want to do around the house that I want to get to before I start spending money on frivolous things like video games.
Well, apparently Hunter thinks I need to start a GoFundMe for my new background. He's been hating on my background ever since. I think Hunter's jealous. He doesn't have as cool as a background as me.
Yeah, that is true. He's got to be hating. He doesn't have a cool background as you or me. Just did all of these lights myself. Did the hard work of hanging up all my posters and whatnot.
Yeah, you got a nice background there. You got the gloves in the background. You got the posters in the background. So yeah. He was on the stream there, Hunter. He was a guest on the stream with you reviewing Revenge of the Sith and reviewing Havoc as well. Let's take a look at his background. Let's take a look. I think he was on there. Let's see what he got. So he's got, hold on. Let me see. Oh, so he's got a chair here. Nobody's sitting in it.
Chair. Yep.
Door open.
Posters. Can't see shit of the posters.
Can't even see the posters.
But I'll give him this. It's broad daylight when in his time zone when we were doing the show. So I'll give him that caveat.
His door is open. Anybody can just come in there and kill him. That's one.
He's not very perspicacious, as they say.
And then this other door is open. Yeah, what the hell is that's the problem right there. Yeah. So there you go.
He's not on high alert.
My background is amazing. LOL, what are you talking about? Got LED lights too.
Hey, can we see them?
Yeah. Can't see them. So your room is pointless with them LED lights in the daytime.
So fuck out of here.
Doors open for the cats. Keep them cats outside. They, doing the stream. They're going to be clawing at the door or something like that.
Yeah, ran yourself.
So yeah, we got some good people we could raid after this stream. Yeah, Yadira. We got RDC Gaming. They're playing that Minecraft. They're playing Minecraft there. Famous YouTube channel, RDC Gaming. RDC World there. Those boys over there. Yeah, some good people. Yeah, Purple Wine Tails is on right now. Got Miller playing the Fortnite. Yeah. Future streams. I have a stream upcoming with Sage from Rated Immaturity. He's going to be on tomorrow. Speaking about Clear Obscure Expedition 31. Man, that's a mouthful of a game, isn't it? Yeah, he's going to be doing a review for that with Tim, who's also another cast member on Rated Immaturity. He's also going to be doing Lies of P as well. We're also going to be doing a review for Devil May Cry, the anime series there, and we're going to be doing a review for Batman Forever in tribute to Val Kilmer. We're going to be doing that. I have to get with Koki. Koki, I want help me out with a review there since it is May, American Pacific Islander month. Try to get a review out there. We are doing a Kira Kurosawa film there. I'm trying to decide if we're going to do Seven Samurai, if we're going to do High Low. I was thinking about just doing High Low because Spike Lee is doing a remake of that movie there with Denzel Washington. The great actress Ice Spice is going to be in it as well. I can't wait to see her what she does there.
I mean, she can't be any worse of an actor than The Weeknd.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those TikToks speaking about Hurry Up Tomorrow, about the Weeknd's performance in Hurry Up Tomorrow.
I still haven't seen it. I'm excited. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, good old Hurry Up Tomorrow. Then people say Weeknd got veneers. I guess people making fun of. People say he got veneers. I didn't know he. Yeah, it does kind of look like he does have veneers. I guess, but this is the scene that people are memeing on TikTok and making fun of. Let me show it right here. Let me know if you can hear it.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut up! What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?
While ditching school, not talking to us.
I don't care.
You have to go back.
It's like some Tommy Wiseau acting. It's giving. I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it's the front teeth. It
is all front teeth.
Yeah, because sometimes you see people put them veneers in. They look like one of them chattering boxes, them wind up kind of things you used to play with as kids.
looks like those like set of wind up teeth that you have just sitting about your desk.
Yeah, like geez, yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, sometimes people get money, and then like you've looked at Denzel Washington, his teeth before he got famous. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of that. Like his teeth were all. No, it was was it him or was it Samuel Jackson? I think maybe it was Samuel Jackson. Like, let me see.
Might have been.
They looked at his teeth looked like he had been like chewing rocks or something shit like that. Like, nah, I don't think it was him. Let me try Denzel Washington. But nothing wrong with getting your teeth worked on and fixed. You got the money. I think that's all good. Yeah, here it is. I think here's the picture right here. So you got him. So he had like a gap a little bit with the teeth and that. So he got some work done. Yeah,
got some work done. It was like, hey, he did it for his career, which we can't fault him at all.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I no begrudge anybody for that. There, if I had the money, I'd do it too. Actually, I have to get dental surgery actually done too. Actually, get that fixed. But yeah, so there's nothing wrong with that. So I was thinking about maybe doing that since the Denzel Washington and Spike Lee re-collaborating again to do a remake of the Kira Kurosawa film High Low there, which I hear is a masterpiece of a film. So there's that. Friday, hopefully, Nick, can you join me on Friday?
Friday, I can. Yes, I can.
Okay, Friday, we got the Final Reckoning. It is the Final Reckoning there. Is this going to be it for Ethan Hunt and the crew? Fighting against that AI. We'll see there.
Probably, but it won't be the end for Tom Cruise until he dies on screen for our entertainment.
Yeah, he said he's never retiring. He's gonna keep acting in movies all the way till he's 100. So hey, he's gonna do it there. So
all the way till he's 100 or he dies, whichever comes first.
So hey, Tom Cruise putting in that dedication there. The blood of Xenu runs through him. So he's got that. So yeah, that's coming out this week there. I'm hearing some things that it's probably not the greatest finale you want to have for this franchise, but I'll see for myself what they kind of got going on there in this. I did like Dead Reckoning. I didn't think it was the best of the newer Mission Impossible movies, but I did like Dead Reckoning.
Dead Reckoning kind of grew on me.
Yeah. And the budget on this Final Reckoning is huge too. It says it's estimated budget of 300 to 400 million. One of the most expensive budgets. One of the most expensive budgets for a film ever.
Wow. That's
So that's pretty big. Hopefully, it can make that money back because Dead Reckoning did not do that well in the box office.
mhm.
I did not. So yeah, there's that. Also, Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch is out right now, so that's going to be coming out next week. Good old Lilo. I was thinking about doing a retro review for Lilo and Stitch
Mhm.
Saturday. It's been a minute since I've seen the animated film of that. But are you looking forward to it? Do you think it's going to be one of these Disney remakes that do kind of well and people like
Oh,
it? Or
I'm sure it'll do well because I was just looking at showtimes on Thursday night, for the advanced tickets, and a lot of the screenings I saw were sold out.
Hmm. Okay, so people,
Mhm.
yeah, that does connect with a lot of the millennial audience. Me and Nick's age now that
Yeah.
they people have kids or married now. It's like, hey, look, let's go watch Lilo and Stitch and relive my childhood. When I used to watch
Mhm.
Lilo and Stitch, so you got that kind of going for it. Other than something like Snow White, where I mean, I don't know, you get apparently all of a sudden all these diehard Snow White fans come out the woodwork like, I've loved Snow White forever.
I've
You
loved
know,
Snow White forever, and they are disrespecting her Snow White by casting a brown woman.
yeah, all of a
When
sudden all
the
these
real
people.
outrage should have been a casting Gal Gadot.
Yeah. So apparently, yeah, there was all these diehard Snow White fans all of a sudden. Yeah. But Lilo and Stitch, I think it has a good chance of doing pretty well in the box office.
Mm.
Because of that millennial connection. We talked about this before with a lot of the Disney remakes. The ones that typically do well are the one from that millennial era.
Mhm.
The golden age that they did, the other renaissance of Disney films,
Mhm.
Lion King. Then there was also what was that movie? What am I blanking on it? It was
It's like Cinderella, maybe Beauty and the Beast. That one
Beauty and
did
the
really
yeah,
well.
Beauty and the Beast did really well. There was Mulan, but that doesn't really count because
Yeah,
that was
that
COVID.
was that was COVID. That was straight to Disney Plus, so that doesn't really count.
Yeah, but Cinderella, even though it's not part of the new
Mhm.
renaissance of movies. Oh, Aladdin, that did really well too. Aladdin
Mhm.
did really well.
Yeah,
But
even Jungle Book, which isn't really a part of that second Renaissance, it still did pretty well. Well
yeah,
enough to get Jon Favreau, the keys to Star Wars and also, The Lion King.
yeah. So that did well. I mean, and yeah, Cinderella, even though that's not a part of the renaissance, that did do pretty well. I think that made 500 million plus that
Mhm.
Cinderella film. With that was who played Cinderella in that? That
That
was
was Lily James, I think.
yeah, Lily James who played it. Yeah, Lily James. Yeah, Pamela Anderson herself. Uh, yeah, played Cinderella in that. So I don't think it did. I can't remember if I saw that or not. I don't think I did. But it's all the same shit anyway. I mean, it's the
Yeah,
same story. You know,
just watch the original.
yeah, it's the same shit. So yeah, I think it has a good chance of that, and I think it is going to be a better movie than Snow White. I think it's probably a
Mhm.
better movie than that. But that's two big movies coming out this week. Hurry Up Tomorrow. We're going to do a review for that Friday. I'm watching that Monday. Friendship is another movie that we're going to review. I'm gonna see it. I'm really looking forward to seeing that movie. It looks crazy. Looks pretty
Yeah,
funny.
it looks funny. I'm a huge fan of Tim Robinson, and I think you should leave.
Yeah, so that's really good. Until Dawn. I know you already saw it. I'm gonna see
Mhm.
it Tuesday. So I'm
Mm.
gonna see that Tuesday there. So we do a review for that. And yeah, that's the reviews we got coming up. And then Saturday, maybe I'll bring on Chris from Black Stubbs, help me do Lilo and Stitch if he's available there. And then yeah, so that's the future streams, future stuff we got going on. But Nick, let people know where they can find us. You got going on, what you got coming up next, man.
So you can find me on this channel, twitch.tv/the afternoon tune. You can find me on all the social media, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Letterboxd at Night and Day Nick.
Very cool. Night and day Nick. And of course, your links are all in the description below when we upload
Yeah.
the videos there. So we can follow you, check you out there on Twitter, on Instagram, Letterbox, all that good stuff there. You've been cataloging all these movies.
As much as I can. Yeah, I've been cataloging, when I can, whenever I've been doing more just like couple sentence blurbs about a lot of the movies that I've ended up seeing.
Yeah. And then the last movie you clocked was Clown in a Cornfield. Did
Yeah,
you want
that
to do a
was
review for that?
yeah, I
Friday.
can yeah, I
Oh,
can talk about that Friday.
yeah. You want to do it Friday? Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking forward to it. It was Eli Craig who did Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Oh, nice. I love that movie.
Mhm.
I do love that movie. So a fun throwback slasher with some surface level but fun social commentary. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Went woke on you, huh? Okay.
Yeah, it went woke.
Yeah. I hate when that happens. So you got that there. So Thunderbolts here. You get one for that one, Thunderbolts, which we're gonna be talking about tonight. I don't want to spoil your thoughts on that. But very nice there. These were your two most popular reviews:
Wow.
Hitman, and Blue Beetle.
Yeah, wow. Those are two. Those are two. It's like, wow, those are the ones that got traction. Huh, interesting.
Hitman is probably just Nate making different accounts to like it.
Hey, what? Hey, the summer of 2024 was Glenn Powell's summer.
Really, was it though?
Kind of.
What did he have in 2024? Twister.
Twisters and Hitman.
Does it? Okay. Io Debris was in everything in what was it, 2024 or 2023?
Yeah, 2023.
2023. Yeah. Now that was a year for somebody. Io Debris. She was in TMNT. She was in Spider-Man. She was in The Bear. She was in everything. Like now that was a great year. Now that actor had a year. If you want to talk about a year, you know. But yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's go into this. We'll do Fight or Flight. Then we'll do after that. I think I'll invite Chris on. I think we should probably get in close to 9, and I'll send out the link to Chris and Jeff, and do that. But I'll pull up my notes for this Fight or Flight. I just saw this movie. Fight or Flight there with Josh Hartnett. How long ago did you see this movie?
I saw this a couple days ago. So it's still fairly fresh on my mind.
All right. Let's get into this. Do I have the trailer here? Oh, yes. Cool. All right. So our first review of the day is going to be for the film Fight or Flight. Fight or Flight is a movie there starring Josh Hartnett. We're in the Hartessance, as I'm calling it there. We see a resurgence of Josh Hartnett. He took a break from acting for a bit, but he's popped up in movies there. His big comeback probably was Oppenheimer, I think, was a supporting role in that. And then he was also in that film with M. Night Shyamalan, Trap as well. And then he's in this action style movie here called Fight or Flight. And what is this film about? So you got Josh Hartnett here, who is playing a mercenary there for the government. And he plays a guy named Lucas Reyes there. And has a mission, right? After being burnt by the government there, after probably doing some bad things. Well, maybe not so bad things, but he got punishment there from his big bosses there for kind of doing what's right. He gets a chance at redemption, gets a chance to kind of get back into things and get out of Thailand. And that is, he has one mission, and that is to get on a plane there and hunt down this target, a target named of Ghost. They're this expert hacker there who they run down their whole resume, all the things they did. They've overtaken countries, they've freed people, they've fed the hungry there. They're basically what Anonymous was supposed to be. Like we thought Anonymous was this cool thing. It's like, oh, bro, y'all ain't doing shit. Y'all doing is showing up in Guy Fawkes mask and that's it, and talking in deep voices. Y'all ain't doing shit. But yeah, that's kind of what this person does, the hacker Ghost there. And he's sent on a mission there to track them down. But once he gets on this plane, he discovers like, oh shit, there's other people on this plane who also wants to hunt down this Ghost figure there. And he's working with not a lot of information because he doesn't know what Ghost looks like, doesn't know anything about the person at all. So he has to slowly kind of work his way of finding out who the person is, and also on this tight, cramped plane, fighting off all these other various different assassins, as you can see in this trailer there. So we've had Assassins on a Train. If you remember that movie there, that was from who did that movie?
That was David Leitch. That was Brad Pitt with Bullet Train.
Bullet Train. So we had Assassins on a Plane. We've had Assassins on a Train, and we've now had Assassins on a Plane.
Back to planes again.
Yeah, so we had that. So, well, so Nick, what are your thoughts on Fight or Flight?
Yeah, so after a couple of duds with the action genre, I wasn't really looking forward to this. I'm happy to see Josh Hartnett get more work. I felt like he was one of those like really underrated actors from the early 2000s who kind of got a lot of middling to very bad projects with stuff like Halloween H2O and Lucky Number 11. He was kind of typecast as that, but I really, even if I'm not a huge fan of the movie, I really dug his performance in Trapped, and I was really looking forward to see what he would do next. And we get to see him as this kind of down on his luck, burned former Secret Service agent and who is just trying to get through this like last assignment. And we see more as the movie develops, on top of being fairly good at the action stuff, which I'm surprised. I'm not surprised that Josh Hartnett did most of his own stunts for this. But seeing the real core of that character, which always makes a movie like this more interesting, especially with his chemistry with this secondary lead, Isha, who's played by I'm probably gonna butcher this. It's Charithra Chandran. Yeah, Charithra Chandran, who their chemistry is fantastic, especially towards the second and third act of this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And I brought up Bullet Train, that movie, just as a comparison, because it's assassins on a tight, cramped environment, and they all have a target, and they almost fight each other to get to the target, and everything like that. So it's kind of a similar comparison there. Even though what I thought about that movie, I wasn't really that big on the movie. I just thought the movie itself was kind of just okay. I thought it was all right. And a lot of what Bullet Train is I think not really what Fight or Flight is, because Bullet Train is very over the top and very kind of. I mean, this movie is. I mean, Fight or Flight is too, but Bullet Train is way more. I think.
Yeah,
focus more on the comedy thing aspect of it there with it, as opposed to I think Fight or Flight is. And I think Josh Hartnett as the lead in Fight or Flight there, as this guy who is looking for another chance. He's been stuck in Thailand forever. He's been blacklisted. He can't even. He's been on the no-fly list, so he can't even get out of the country. And then he gets a call from Katie Sackhoff there, who's in this film. And then he's like, "Okay, I got the job for you. You do this. You're back in again." And it's his chance. And also the environment that they're in of being on a plane is an interesting fighting environment, because you don't see that all the time there. And it's way different than even being on a train, because a train is way more bigger than what a plane is. So that's offers an interesting dynamic there. And the fight scenes do look convincing. I think they do look good. I think Josh Hartnett there, it's good to see that he did his own stunts with this. And there's some crazy kind of moments in here. You're going to get some crazy violence in here. There's going to be definitely some moments where you scream. The broken bones.
Broken bones, like a lot of private parts getting grabbed and crushed, which made me wince in the theater.
Yeah. So you're gonna get that, and it's gonna be some crazy moments there. Did you think the action lived up to what you kind of saw in the trailer?
It lived up to it, and I'm glad that it didn't show all of the best action in the trailer, which a lot of these movies tend to do. They have to. This is a smaller budget movie. I think this was only this. I'd be surprised if this had a budget of anything more than like $2 million, but they use their money well, and I'd be shit. What was I saying?
Remiss.
I'm sorry.
I know you said you would be. I don't know. I was trying to finish your sentence. I was trying to finish your sandwich there.
I'd be surprised if this. If that, because this is such a tight space, that I'm really glad that they found creative ways to use the action in designing and choreographing it, because cramped space, there's only so much you can do, so they did a good job of finding ways to make it interesting.
Yeah. All the stuff on the plane I think is good. That's where I was most engaged. When they cut back to the CIA or the government office, that to me was the worst part of it and the least interesting element of the movie there. Especially with that one character that was the character that Katie Sackhoff's character hired there to run the little department there.
Yeah, he's Julian Kostov, who was just in The White Lotus.
Oh, okay. The latest
season? He is in the latest season, and he is like, they aren't even trying to hide that he's really the bad guy in this.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a piece of shit, and it just opening scene, he's a piece of shit. Like, he's telling people to fuck off, just yelling at people. They're trying to give him information. He's like, man, just get to the fucking point, man. Like, he's trying to give you important information. You don't know what's going on, and then he's just straight yelling at people. And yeah, I mean, he's so over the top. It just doesn't feels like it really, even with this movie, as crazy as it gets, doesn't really work. That it just feels so cartoonish. And the way he plays it, I don't know. It didn't really work for me.
All the stuff in the plane is fantastic, and as over the top as it is, Hartnett manages to bring it back down to earth. And there is a point in the third act where he like kind of has a kind of has like a drug-induced hallucination that adds a little element of cartoonishness to it, but the movie does a good job of bringing you right back to reality, or this movie's heightened reality, I should say.
Yeah. And you also gotta, with these type of movies, in the trailer had from the producers of John Wick, and it,
Mhm.
like, we're dropped into these world of assassins. It's just like everybody's an assassin. It's like, you know what I mean? Like the homeless people are assassins, and all like on this plane, it feels like, well, damn, how many people on these are just actual regular customers? Because it seems like 60% of the plane is just assassins. It's like, what the
Hey,
fuck?
this movie, unlike John Wick, at least showed that there were just civilians on this plane.
Yeah, so even though we didn't really get much of them at all, like there's some characters like, with a movie like this, we'll focus maybe on the oddball
Mhm.
kind of civilian character or something like that. They didn't really do that in this movie. I don't know, maybe because they just were like, okay, we don't have that much time, or
Mhm.
it'll cost too much money to give another kind of actor more lines,
Mhm.
something like that. Did you think
and
that was?
and that would throw off the pacing of this, because the movie, this is like an hour, like 97 minutes. This is like very tight, very briskly paced, and focusing on that would have kind of taken away from the charm of it, I think.
You think so? So were you kind of disappointed that it really isn't much of an investigate? I mean, they kind of find out who the
Yeah,
those characters.
I mean, you could probably guess who is the target just from looking at the trailer if you have a really keen eye. And I don't think the movie is really meant to be this kind of like grand mystery.
Okay. It's not really interested in kind of doing
Mhm.
that. It's not like something like what was that Liam Neeson movie Commuter or something like he's trying
Yeah,
to.
this isn't trying to be the Commuter or Nonstop, which
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people online compare this to.
Oh, not what the fake Liam Neeson.
Nonstop was the Liam Neeson on a plane.
Oh, that was him on the plane, nonstop.
Mhm.
Okay. I haven't seen that. That was the various taken movies that weren't taken. It's like him on a train, him on a plane. Yeah, it's gotta be him on a boat now. You know
And
what I
then
mean?
no, then there was a him on a snowmobile.
What are you talking about in the
That
gray?
was a
Gray man?
no, that wasn't the Gray. That was a Cold Pursuit.
Oh, Cold Pursuit. Okay, interesting. He going out through all the all the vehicles. Nice. Okay. Uh, has he ever done one on a submarine? Maybe you go on a submarine.
I think back in the 90s he was in a submarine movie. I might be wrong.
Okay. Hey, we'll look that up there. But yeah, I mean, hey, it's if you look at the trailer and go like, this seems like my type of movie. If you did like stuff like maybe Nonstop or as you mentioned before, Bullet Train, maybe you also
Or if you saw Love Hurts and want to wash the taste of that piece of shit out your mouth, this is for you.
yeah, there weren't people leaving when at the end of the barely at the end of the movie get up like, "Ah, okay, we had enough." And that movie's only like an hour and 20 something minutes. If people getting up and going like, "Oh, we had enough." So at least it isn't something like that. But like I said, I think when they do the government stuff, that's the weakest element of this. Like when
Mhm.
they go to the government office, that's pretty. But when the action, it moves at a fast pace and it moves at a good pace. The action is good. Josh Hartnett is a good lead in this. It's not really so much focused on necessarily the mystery of who this ghost figure is. Like you said, I mean, it kind of happens fairly quickly, and
Mhm.
you can maybe even guess it watching the trailer. Maybe if you do that. And yeah, so I did enjoy that. I did enjoy this movie. So I'd give it a high, stream it low. Well,
Mhm.
I'll go low tune in. I'll go low tune in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of right there with you. I had a good enough time with this that I recommend seeing it in the theater, especially with a crowd, because the one I was in, there was like a decently packed. There were people like cheering, hollering, especially, wincing like you do at a movie like this when, certain parts get grabbed like you see in the trailer. And it was a fun time. The mystery isn't really relevant, but the chemistry between Josh Hartnett and the secondary lead, I think it's good enough to warrant seeing in a theater. All the stuff with the government agency that you see with Julian Kostoff and Katie Sackhoff, that is the weakest part of this movie, but there isn't a lot of focus on them.
Mm,
So thank goodness.
yeah. Like Katie Sackhoff. I like Katie Sackhoff as an actress.
Mhm.
Things like Battlestar Galactica. I liked her in
Mm.
Mandalorian.
Yeah,
Uh,
Battlestar, Mandalorian. I really think she's an underrated performer from that Mike Flanagan movie Oculus. If you've ever seen that.
I have seen that. She's good
Mhm.
as well. But he or she's hard-nosed boss, and it's
Mhm.
kinda like she has one kind of mode throughout the whole movie. It's not really that interesting. She was also good in Riddick. I mean, oh, she was also in
Mhm.
Riddick. She was pretty cool in that movie too. So yeah, lowest tune in for me. Same for you, lowest tune in.
Yeah, low-ish tune in.
Awesome. So two lowest tune ins for fight or flight. We didn't have a fight or flight reaction to this movie. With this, pretty awesome. Very nice. All right. Let's do. I think we do one more review.
Yeah,
Uh,
let's do it.
in the meantime, I'll go ahead and send the link to Chris and to Jeff, and they'll pop in there. But we'll do this Final Destination Bloodlines there. Have you seen all the Final Destination movies?
I've seen all of them a longish time ago. I remember loving the first two and really liking Final Destination 5. And I rewatched 3 and 4, and I really wish I didn't. Because 3, I think people only really like that because they have nostalgia goggles, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead is the lead in that. And 4 is just irredeemable, except for like one scene where you have a like very racist dude getting dragged along on fire while Why Can't We Be Friends is playing, and that gets a chuckle.
Yeah. Which one was the 3D one? Was that the third one or that?
That was the fourth one. That was
Oh, okay.
the final destination, which you who are you bullshitting?
All right. Let's get into this review. All right. So our next review is going to be for the film Final Destination Bloodlines. Final Destination Bloodlines is the sixth film in the Final Destination franchise there. I've seen a few of the Final Destination movies myself there. I didn't have time to rewatch any of them, but
Mhm.
a lot of people are really raving about this. Some people are saying that this is some Final Destination fans there. Is there a term for Final Destination fans? Is like a
I
term
don't
for it?
know. I don't know if they have a term coined for it.
Okay. You don't wanna come up with one,
Uh,
destination heads or, something like that, or, you know,
I don't know. I don't know.
FD heads, I don't
I
know
don't
what you
got time for that.
but yeah, some people are saying that this is the best film of the franchise there. It's doing rave reviews there, great critic score, and but we'll give you let you people know our thoughts on it. So what's happening in this Destination film here? Well, if you know Final Destination and the franchise, if you're brand new to it, let me tell you about it. So it always usually contains people here, people who've cheated death, right? You have a character who has the ability of premonitions, and they're able to see deaths before they happen. And when they do that, the movie kind of will open with the death scenes happening, but then it'll cut backwards. It'll go back to actually when the character first, before she even entered the situation, and she's able to stop it. And then what that causes is Death is really pissed about that because like, oh no, you weren't supposed to do that. No,
It's
no,
like
no, no. These people were mine. I was supposed
it's
to
like
collect these souls.
you fuck with my job.
I got a quota to meet, you know what I mean? And you fucking with my numbers here. So because you did that, I gotta go now and kill you and all the people around you there as punishment. So in this
Mhm,
series, you see with Bloodlines, hence the name of it, it
mhm,
is now attacking a family, as you see here. We
mhm,
see the opening sequence takes place in always a lot of these Final Destination movies always have these big elaborate opening sequences
mhm,
here, much like these do. And then the first opening sequence takes place in the 60s there, where you see kind of happening. And then years later, decades later, in modern times here, we see that death has finally has come back to haunt this family and come back to get its revenge over what that character did.
mhm,
So yeah, that's the setup here. And you got Tony Todd, who makes a return in this. This is one of his final performances
mhm.
before he passed away. Unfortunately, he passed away from stomach cancer.
Uh,
Unfortunately, there's rest in peace to Tony Todd there with him. But Nick, you're a big Final Destination fan. What are your thoughts here on Bloodlines?
so Final Destination is one of those franchises that it has a huge cult following almost because the first movie I think is one of the surprise hits of the 2000s where horror was trying to find its legs in this new era. And Final Destination 2, it managed to traumatize an entire generation to where nobody I know is going to drive behind a logging truck ever.
Oh yeah,
But
which they actually did some cool marketing with that recently with
mhm.
the truck there. They actually
Yeah,
did
of
that.
course. Everybody remembers the logging truck. And it's a franchise that is kind of 50-50. It is like two of the movies are universally regarded as being good. 3 and 4 are, kind of bad. and 5 is kind of hit or miss for people. I love that movie. And with this one, this does such a good job of bringing this franchise back to what made the original so great, which was, and I keep coming back to this quote from Zach Kreger, who directed Barbarian a couple years ago, and he had this line in an interview where the difference, the like setup between like great sketch comedy and great horror aren't that too dissimilar. It's like there's subversion of expectation and playing with expectations and build up and surprise. And every one of the deaths in this movie, they managed to dance that line beautifully, where it does such a good job of bringing your attention to like this one thing, and it's something else that causes the death. And this movie, I think it's much funnier than any of the other entries in this, because there's a couple deaths in here that no sane person should be laughing at, but they got a riot out of my theater.
Yeah. Especially with the character, because it's all about these kind of Rube Goldberg type of deaths that happens in these movies. It's like this coin goes to this thing and it bounces off this other thing and goes here, and then it gets stuck here, and then that's able for it to heat up and do all this other stuff. So it's all about how all that's going to set up in these death scenes and how it's all going to culminate, which is always interesting and fun to watch in these type of movies there. And people say like, well, we just had a Final Destination movie that came out just this year with the monkey. There we had that. And I'm interested because you saw the monkey there as well.
Yeah, I saw, and I really liked the monkey. But with that movie, that was more playing into the absurdity, and it was fairly more straightforward with how it killed people. With Final Destination, it's all about bringing your attention here. Meanwhile, the real death trap is happening over here.
Like a magic trick. It's kind of
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I've watched some of the Final Destination films there. I've watched the first one. I watched the one with Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I think I watched the second one. I think I did see also the 3D one. I believe I did see that one. I can't remember. I did see 5. So I did.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, 5 was the the first back to basics one. It was also the first one that actually like tried to do a good job of making you care about characters in that, and also it was the one to bring back Tony Todd.
Yeah,
Tony Todd.
Yes, you are on there, Jay.
Yes, I can't. Why am I not hearing you?
Oh, can't hear.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear Jay. I think he can't hear us there. But yeah, I'm gonna come back to Jay in a minute there. But yeah. So I did like these. Yeah, so I did like the 5th one. I'd have to rewatch them again to see where I would rank all of the Final Destination movies there. How recently have you seen all the Final Destination films?
I started rewatching them, before and after I saw the latest one. I watched the first one, and then I've just slowly been like working through the other sequels.
Okay. And where would you say that this one is, Bloodlines?
Honestly, I'd say this is probably my favorite or like second favorite of the entire franchise, because this is the one where it adds new wrinkles to the formula of Final Destination, which I think the best movies in this series, besides the first one, managed to do. Because with the second one, it added that wrinkle of, okay, all the characters in here, they were like part of a ripple effect from the first movie, and the 5th one added that like rule is like, if you kill somebody, you can get the time they had left, which come up in this movie.
Yeah, it makes for a funny scene where characters looking at some babies and go like, "We want to do this." Like, no, we don't want to do that. No, but seriously, no. So it does bring up that, and it brings up more of the lore of the Final Destination thing of like, all the how death kind of works and everything like that, and like you even have a character who has a whole rule book on that. And you had characters like that before, like what's her name? Was it Ali Lauder?
Yeah, Ali Larder, who was Clear Rivers in the first movie, in the first and second movies. She was like kind of the insider, besides Tony Todd, who I'm just rewatching the first two movies. They were clearly trying to set him up to be Death. Because he was a character that knew way too much about their situation than anybody else could have been let on.
Yeah, I was kind of think he was
It's
kind
like,
of the physical
all
presence
right,
of death or something
this
like that.
motherfucker is like clearly the Grim Reaper, but that could just be because it's Tony Todd, who, the Candyman.
Yeah, which I think it made good use of him there, and it's good to see him come back for this one. It being one of his final roles there. Obviously, he does look clearly very visibly sickly in this, but it is awesome just to see him and everything like that in it. But yeah, the deaths are really good. I think it has some of the really great deaths. I think my favorite one was the one in the hospital. I think the one in the hospital.
That whole set piece in the hospital is amazing, because it does, what I talked about before of like bringing your attention to like one thing that you think could cause a character to die. Even like bits in the trailer where, yeah, you see like something that could have led to a death, but it doesn't happen.
And even moments, I mean, like in the tattoo shop, that one was also really good. Just the setup of that, and again, it plays on your kind of expectations of like, oh man, something's fucked up is going to happen. It really plays with your expectations there. And this character, I think his name, what was his name again? It was
His name was
Abe
Eric, who's played
Eric.
by Richard Harmon. He might be my favorite character in this, because he is kind of a lot of movies have kind of the asshole character who's like laughing in the face of death, and here he adds a level of humor and levity to this that if it didn't, this movie would have just gone straight into goofy slapstick comedy.
Yeah,
but something that I think this movie does versus the others, because something that I think this one does well to compare to another movie with Evil Dead Rise, because we're focusing on a whole family. The movie does a good job of making these people feel like a real family. Yeah, there's drama in between them, but they are still people that love and care about each other, which I think is a strength of this movie and something that we don't really see in a Final Destination movie.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the characters. So the new person, the new lead of this, who has the premonitions, is Caitlin Santa Juana there, and she plays the lead there, and she plays Stephanie Reyes there. Maybe she's related to Josh Hartnett's character in Fight there. So yeah, she's the one that steps up, and she's the one with the kind of premonitions. Did you like her as the lead? Is one of the better leads of the franchise?
Yeah, she I think she's good given what she has to do. She's kind of meant to be our audience avatar and kind of just be freaking out, especially like through the entire first act of this, because the whole inciting incident is because we get the opening of the movie, which is the big disaster, but to play with us, it doesn't flash back to Breck Basinger, who is the lead character of that segment. It flashes to her, and we're kind of as an audience asking, wait a minute, how does she fit into this? And getting more of that mystery revealed slowly throughout the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Chris, you said you saw Final Destination. Did you have some thoughts on it?
Yeah, I did. I saw it today. As someone who has been a fan of this franchise since basically childhood, like I specifically remember walking in on my mom watching the second one on DVD when I was 6, 7. I was like a baby when she was watching that. And for some reason, rather than chasing me out of the room like most parents would and probably should, she decided this would be a good like bonding experience for us and sat me down on the couch to watch the rest of it with her. And funny enough, like 5 seconds after she did that came the scene where a mother character in the movie watches her son get violently crushed to death by a pane of glass. So maybe that was her way of trying to tell me, like, do whatever I tell you, don't screw around, don't be an idiot, or you're gonna fucking die. So yeah, maybe that's what was up. But yeah, I've liked this franchise for a long time. I was hoping this one would at least live up to the better entries in the series, especially given it's also Tony Todd's last movie, as far as we know. Maybe there's something else that we just haven't heard about yet. And I was pleasantly surprised that not only did this match the best of the series, but I think in certain ways, it managed to surpass the best in the series, because I think by far this movie has the best ensemble character wise out of any movie in the series. Not that the rest of the movies have like necessarily bad characters, except for 4. Like nobody comes off good in 4. That's the worst one by a long shot.
The only redeemable character in that is Michael T. Williamson, and that's because
Bubba.
you have him.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody else is like just kind of like disposable, like CW, like magazine model, just just boring meat. Exactly. But this one, it doesn't give you a ton of screen time with the family before the carnage starts, but the little bit it does give, I totally buy them as a family unit. They all have like specific personalities and characterizations that I'm able to tell them apart from each other. They don't just feel like the same stock character copy and pasted. The main girl, I forget her name. Caitlin Santa.
Juana.
Caitlin Santa Juana.
Yeah, I think she's really good. I like her brother. You're right. Tattoo guy. Eric.
Teo Briones is Caitlin
younger
Santa
brother.
Juana's brother, who was in the Chucky series.
Oh, okay. Oh, was he the?
Yeah, he was like the shithead little cousin in Chucky.
Oh yeah. Okay, nice.
Right, I haven't watched that, but I liked him, and I think Eric is easily one of the standouts of the entire movie. Like he gets a laugh basically every scene that he's in, and he's sort of like a good. You kind of need like sort of a comic relief character in a movie like this because the premise is so insane. And I think the lesser movies don't like 4 don't have that character, but the better movies like 5 with David Koechner and PJ Byrne, and the first one with Sean William Scott, and now this one with Eric, I think they managed to have a character in there who's able to balance out to where it's not such an oppressive experience to watch the movie because, it's again, like as like the franchise has made clear in the past, death is inevitable for a lot of these people, but it's through this character in particular with this one, it still manages to make the movie like fun to watch just in terms of like certain lines that he has and certain scenarios that he proposes, like as you guys mentioned earlier, the aforementioned potential baby murdering sequence, which got maybe the biggest laugh in the theater that I saw it with. But and also just the kills are really creative, and not just in terms of how they're executed with all their bloody detail, but also just the setups for them are really well put together and well filmed and well edited to where you are sort of on the edge of your seat as you're wondering like, all right, how are these going to play out? And some of them are really funny how they play out. One particular kill that I won't specifically mention, but it involves a soccer ball, and that is all that I will say. But this is kind of like a greatest hits of the franchise as far as I'm concerned. And right now I think it is my favorite of the series personally.
Okay. And you two having some kind of fresh memory of the franchise, is there a lot of like Easter eggs and stuff there?
The biggest one I think is like right before the third act, and I think it's in the trailer where in the trailer you see like a character walking in the street as a bus or a car just drive past them real fast. You see like the logging truck drive past somebody. As far as Easter eggs go, those are probably the 2 standouts.
Okay. Yeah. What about you, Chris? You see any big things?
Well, there's a character from 2 that they name drop during the sequence. That was a big one that I noticed. Obviously, they include like a logging truck passes by characters at one point, and they make reference to sort of a classic kill in the first one with a character getting smashed by a bus that they try to repeat in 4, but to much lesser effect. And this one does the good thing of not like repeating it full beat, but just making it like a cute little, if you get that's nice. If you get it, great. If you don't get it, it doesn't like take away from the experience of watching it at all. So I think they're very careful and very smart with how they do the callbacks to previous movies. And also that book, it has sketches of like airplanes and like freeways and shit, which are references to the first and second one. So they're done really tastefully and ways that aren't distracting to the rest of the actual story of what you're watching currently.
Yeah, and just and like you were saying, that this movie has such a passion for the franchise, even down to the 2 directors, Zach Lipovsky and Adam Stein, who they were picked out of like 200 people that were like possibly going to direct this. And during their pitch meeting, they staged an accident like in the movies. It was like there was like a big fire in the background, and it ended with one of them getting beheaded. and that was like their sign of like, yeah, these are the two guys for the job.
Nice. And yeah, the director of this Final Destination movies, as you mentioned there, Zach Lipetsky and Adam Stein. So this is their first time doing any Final Destination. So there's that. So go around, get you guys' final thoughts and rating for it. Chris, what's your final thoughts and rating for Final Destination Bloodlines?
My thoughts and ratings are, again, this is probably my new favorite in the series. And I was a little skeptical because I'd been hearing the same thing going around. So I was kind of like, all right, I hope it's good, but we'll see. And I walked away going like, man, that was so much fun. I really don't have that much to complain about. Like it's like sort of nitpicky logical things that if I had to pick anything out, it would be stuff like that, which really ultimately doesn't take away from the movie at all. And yeah, I think it's a highlights reel of everything that makes this series so special and interesting. And it makes you want to see more from this series because there's so much that you can do with it. And this movie also sort of opens the door to possibly exploring incidents like these and scenarios like this in other time periods, other decades. Like that would be really interesting to see, like how this thing has been playing out across the entirety of human existence could be really interesting. Like not just like 50s, 60s or whatever, but like even further back, like maybe the 1800s, you could do something with that. So it makes you excited to see what else they can do on that level while also giving you a really strong full meal on its own. So I would say absolutely go see it in the theater, do IMAX if you can. Like that's how I saw it. And they do a really cool thing where every time like a death is about to happen, they shift it to where like the bars go away and the screen gets bigger. And it was really fucking cool to see. So yeah, definitely like tune in. Absolutely.
What about you, Nick?
Oh, I'm right there. I was kind of on the fence of calling this my favorite Final Destination because it had been so long since I've seen a lot of the movies. I really like 1 and 2 and 5, but even with those, I still have like I like those movies, but with this, I really don't have that problem. I think every like set piece, every kill, everything is like perfectly staged. This movie does a masterful job of building tension and doing that thing with the magic trick of drawing your attention one way and then setting up the kill in the other. On top of that, having the best ensemble cast of any of these movies with Caitlin Santajuana, who I think does a fantastic job of grounding this and giving us as an audience a character to root for and really hope that this whole family makes it out because they do such a good job of making them feel like real people. And on top of that, kind of in a way fundamentally changing the nature of the Tony Todd character throughout this franchise, but doing it in a way that it adds this level of emotional resonance and poignancy that in my theater, people were kind of tearing up, and so was I, especially with how Tony Todd exits this film. I got to give this a strong tune in.
Yeah, great exit from him. Their Final Destination. Yeah, I like this. This is a lot of fun. The kills, which mainly people sickos love to see the kills in it.
It's me. I'm sickos.
Yeah, there's a sicko right there. Yeah, it works.
Get me.
Great kills in here as always when it comes people become accustomed to with the Final Destination franchise. I think the cast is really good, really fun. I like the lore of the franchise there. Good send off to Tony Todd. I'm happy that this Final Destination movie was really good. Him being in this good Final Destination movie to send off him and then his legacy and his career. So that was pretty awesome there. So I would also give it a tune in for me as well for Final Destination Bloodlines. Yeah. Jay, is Final Destination, is that your type of thing? Is that your bag? Oh, I can't hear you there.
Try this now.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay.
There we go.
Sorry, I had to like unplug and replug and unplug. I didn't even know where I'm at anymore with plugging everything in. But yeah, no, I do quite enjoy the Final Destination series. I have not seen the new one, but I don't think there's a bad one in the bunch, to be honest with you. Like, are there problems with some of the weaker movies? Yes, I'll fully admit that. Like, some of the characters are very unlikable in some of the sequels, but overall, I just enjoy watching those Rube Goldberg machines of death getting set up and activated.
Yeah, that's always fun. Do you have a favorite death you can call off memory?
Oh, the kid who got flattened by the glass because of the birds. I think that's the second one.
Yeah, that's in the second one.
Yeah. I just watched them all 5 of them recently. Forgot how good 5 was. Like,
oh yeah, 5 is awesome.
yeah,
like, I'm a 5 defender, and that has my favorite kill with the laser eye surgery scene.
Oh yes,
that's like
Yeah.
new fear unlocked, which I think the best movies in this franchise always do a good job of playing on that. It was like when I was like on a flight, I flirted with the idea of watching the first one again. And it was like, nah, this is probably a bad idea. It was like hit a little bit of turbulence. It was like, get me off of here.
I watched 64. That one with the dinosaurs where they start off with the crash, and I'm like, this might not be a good idea for a flight.
Awesome stuff there. Yeah, Hunter said, Jesus, that death is brutal. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
They do a fantastic job of calling back to that in this one.
Yeah, I think mine is the gymnastics one.
That one is so good.
I like the gymnastics,
and that's 5 also.
Yeah. Hunter said Nick liked the horror movie. Shocker. So happy to hear this doesn't screw his fan base over. Without spoiling, does it set up for a continuation or?
There's a way that it does, because the way the movie is set up is I think this is said in the trailer, where the incident that happened at the 60s, it led to all of these people that should never have been born. So Death is kind of like cleaning up his loose ends in this. So there's a way that this could continue, but I'd be happy if this is the last one, which, just judging by the box office, New Line is going to say, the fuck it is.
Yeah. So maybe, I mean, if they can continue this, good quality, I'd like to see more if they do that there. But hey, you always in the bloodline. That's what you always do. You gotta in the bloodline. Don't want anybody coming back there. That's important lesson. All right. Let's do Thunderbolts. Jay's on right now. I don't want to keep on for too long. I know, busy man. Stuff there. But Jay, let people know about you, man. What you got going on, man?
Oh man, yeah. I just found out that I have the next 2 weeks off from my other show. Give them an argument with Ben Burgess. So I'm just like, wow, what am I going to do with my time now? So summer season of music hasn't quite started up, so I'm now just literally today trying to figure out what I'm going to be doing this week.
Very nice. A lot of stuff in movies right now. You're gonna maybe go to some concerts, movies.
Yeah. Well, where I live, we get a lot of free concerts. So I know, like Friday, I'm going to go see Gentle Hen. They're just starting up Music on Strong, which is one of the roads. They actually shut down the street and set up a gazebo, and bands come through and play. And then behind the brewery, they've been doing shows, but they kind of move that kind of floating show from place to place. And now they're doing there's just so much music that's happening right around me. Just various events and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to check out, because we also have a great riches of local music, which I absolutely love. Because I was out on Friday seeing Teen Driver and True Jackie.
Awesome. Very nice there. So give them an argument with Ben Burgess there. You can see J. Andrew there. Cole
and Teen Driver. Actually, I had Mark from Teen Driver on an episode.
Very nice. Very cool there. So you can see him on that. I'll make sure to, as always, put your links in the description below. Thank you for joining us, man.
Thank you for having me.
Let people know about you, man. What you got going on?
Yeah, I'm a artist. I've done comics. I've actually spent a lot of time. Part of the reason why I came to the where I live, where we have all this music, was partly because there was a comic book art museum.
Oh, okay. I don't want to dox yourself or anything like that, but stay.
Yeah, no. I mean, this is. Yeah, I live in the hometown of the Ninja Turtles, man. Like why would I not brag about that?
Okay, very awesome. All right, very cool. Chris Ayers, man. Let people know about you, man. What's got going on, man?
Not doing much outside of watching a bunch of stuff and posting about it on Letterboxd if I have something to say. Like, I watch a lot more stuff than my amount of reviews on there would probably imply. I just sometimes struggle to come up with something. But when I do have something, I make sure to get it on there and hope that people enjoy it. So find me on there, and also Facebook, Blue Sky, and Instagram at Airs Force.
Yeah, Air Force. Then on Letterboxd, I think it was Air Force or Air Force One.
I think it's Air Force One, because that sort of completes the pun, if you will. Yes, Air Force One.
Yeah, so this is your letterbox right here. You can check it
Mhm.
out. Got your favorite films here. Got your recent activity. You just recently reviewed Born on the 4th of July.
Yep.
Um,
Mission Impossible's coming up. Figured I'd cross some Tom Cruise blind spots off.
yeah. Final Destination Bloodlines, got a review for that there as well. Gave that some good high marks. You gave this 4 stars. Pretty nice. 4 stars for that.
Mhm.
And you also reviewed the movie we're going to be talking about next, Thunderbolts there. I don't want to spoil your thoughts on that before we get into it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I haven't read your review for that yet.
Mm.
Born on the 4th of July. That's a good Tom Cruise movie. Do
Yeah.
you have a favorite Tom Cruise movie?
Ah. I really love Mission Impossible 4. Collateral is really, really fucking good. A very against type role for him.
Yeah.
I have always had a soft spot for Minority Report. He's really good in A Few Good Men as well. That's another really good one. And also The Firm, I think, is really, really underrated for him.
Yeah, he's got a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
A lot of good. Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah.
He's got that one. What was the one with Nicole Kidman, the Stanley Kubrick?
Eyes Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide
Yeah.
Shut.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's
like, you look-
or
you
actually
look at-
3 with Nicole Kidman. There's that, Days of Thunder, and Far and Away, the Ron Howard movie.
Yeah, if you look at Cruise's filmography, it's kind of nuts the sheer amount of all-time great directors he's managed to work with. Like P.T. Anderson, Spielberg, Scorsese. It's kind of nuts.
John Woo.
Yeah,
John
Tom
Woo.
Woo. Yeah.
De Palma.
Yeah. Yeah, very awesome there. So, Tom Cruise, man. Awesome. All right, let's get into this review. Thunderbolts, asterisks there. That asterisk is important because Marvel, I mean, they basically already just spoiled the shit anyway. They already basically came out, like, okay, we already releasing the new title of the movie. Is already out for people already. But yeah, so we are going to do a spoiler review for this, and we're going to do a regular review, but we'll let you know when we get into the spoiler review. So I already knew basically kind of what some of the stuff was going to happen before I went into it, because I mean, it may be my fault because you got to stay offline with these type of things when these big movies come out. But let's get into this. So our next review of the day is going to be for the film Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts asterisks there. Thunderbolts is the 36th film in the MCU franchise here. It involves this ragtag group of team put together here to stop a character by the name of Sentry. This villain that they have, who is all powerful, all strong, and like, what can these group of losers, as they call each other, what can they do to stop this powerful threat? You also have Julius Dreyfus, who returns as Valentina Allegra de Fontaine there, a government agent there, who is all about secrecy, all about corruption, who is the one who is responsible for the program there that created this character. And she also enlists the help of these various characters at some point in their lives to do various black ops things and cover up for the secrets of I think the company she had was Ox, I think was the company, right?
Yeah, Ox is kind of like one of those other companies in the Marvel universe that's very similar to like AIM or Hammer Tech.
Yeah, so she's got that.
Yeah, it's fairly new too.
Yeah, so got that going on. She's an even more evil version of Nick Fury. It seems like they're setting that up for her there. And a lot of these movies, of course, the question now that we're in the 36th film in this franchise is, okay, how much homework do I have to do before I come and see this? How many shows, how many movies do I have to watch before this? I would say that yes. I mean, it does help to give more context to who these characters are and their backstories if you do see them in their original things, like Ghost or Taskmaster, or even Yelena, who both those characters, Taskmaster and Yelena from Black Widow, and then Ghost was from the second Ant-Man film. She was one of the antagonists of that. John Walker, who I think this is his first appearance in any MCU film, if I'm correct.
Yeah, this is his first time in a feature. But yeah, it was like, I think everyone and their mom kind of watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier when it came out.
Yeah, so he was one of the antagonists of that show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There, you have Red Guardian, who was also from the Black Widow movie. Bucky, who's been with these movies a lot. Today, I don't even know what number of movie this is for
Yeah,
Sebastian Stan.
they signed him to like a 9-film deal like 10 years ago, so I don't even know where they're up to.
Yeah, so he's in there for the long haul for there. So people are probably very familiar with his character playing James Buchanan Barnes, who, if people didn't see the latest Captain America movie, got revealed that he's a congressman now. He's Congressman Bucky. Somebody voted for a literal Russian agent, former Russian agent, to become.
I mean, if you look at politics now, it's not that far fetched.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
why
and
not?
most likely though, the funny thing is he would be in Hakeem Jeffries' district, which is a very strong Democratic district, which really makes you wonder, like, did he run as a Republican and win, or
what? I'm curious.
or is he a Democrat?
What the hell did Bucky run on? Because I think the movie does a good job. It makes it clear he's not exactly a good congressman.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's a very charismatic speaker. I mean, yeah, he's good looking, but it's like,
Hey,
like he's not very good with words.
I guess
but,
that's all you need to win votes, I guess.
yeah. Well, I guess he's got the I helped save the universe. I fought in the battle of in Endgame. So I guess he's got that going for him.
Yeah, both Captain Americas can vouch for him. That's his way in.
That is true.
Yeah, So that's the team here you got assembled with this. And I know that I think Jeff, you came on there when we did the trailer reaction there for Thunderbolts. I think you were assistant on that, if I remember correctly. And we talked about it and just anticipation for it. And I wasn't really too big on myself. What were your thoughts on the trailer there, Jay? When the trailer?
Oh, I thoroughly enjoyed the trailer. I was kind of ready for it because it just seemed to hit the right buttons. But like I was also very cautious because it's not the Thunderbolts of the comics at all. Like it's maybe two of the Thunderbolts, teams kind of like mixed up a bit. I was down for it though. I was ready.
So I was kind of right there with you. I was excited looking at the trailer, but I was more so interested because of who was behind the camera in this. That this was being directed by Jake Schreier and co-written by Joanna Callow. Jake Schreier, he directed a lot of Netflix's Beef, and Joanna Callow, she wrote one of I think the best episodes of television with the Christmas episode of The Bear, and also wrote for Hacks and BoJack Horseman, which. This movie being released during Mental Health Awareness Month, there's a very clear line into why she is uniquely qualified to write this movie, because we're dealing with characters, especially with Yelena and a lot with Bob, who's played by Lewis Pullman, about their kind of melancholy and their sense of nihilism with the world.
Yeah. Pastor Ron, get you guys' thoughts on this. Jay, what are your thoughts on Thunderbolts?
This was a lot of fun. I do think they had this great opening fight scene between the characters, and I love that. But then everything else after that, I mean, honestly, like the great homage to Terminator 2 with Bucky, which I thoroughly loved. A lot of the fight scenes just seemed like they were taking from something else and not going back to what worked in that great opening, big fight scene when they all meet each other, because like that actually played with their strengths, played with their powers, and was wholly original. And I mean, even whenever the people kind of got dusted, it felt, a lot of it just felt like kind of reusing ideas or rehashing stuff. And I think it could have been slightly better. I think the third act's a little weaker than the first two acts, but man, that first act was strong.
Yeah, Chris, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I have made no secret in the past my distaste for the recent run of Marvel movies and shows. I'm not gonna reiterate them again. You can watch past episodes that I've been on here and also other shows for that. So I looked at the trailer and I was like, all right, there might be something here. It's Marvel in their post-Endgame run, so it probably won't take advantage of that, but I don't know. I'll wait and see. And then I heard enough good things from people who are on a similar boat to me regarding Marvel, and also the director being attached and Florence Pugh getting a chance to lead like a big action movie, all combined were sort of like enough of a carrot for me to be like, all right, I'll take the bait. I'll go check this out just for the hell of it, see what's up. And I was pleasantly surprised how much I did end up enjoying it. I do think it starts off a little slow, and not all of the humor lands for me. Like some of it does still feel like the Marvel humor that I've just gotten kind of tired of rearing its head. But there was enough of the humor that was working for me, which did feel a lot more in line with stuff that would be in The Bear or BoJack Horseman or Beef, that ended up getting more into it as the movie went along. And I did end up really getting into the dynamics that all the different characters have with each other. Even characters that I borderline forgot even existed, like Ghost from Ant-Man, I ended up liking more this time. And I think it does help having Pugh in the lead. Like she's one of those actresses who can elevate basically anything that you throw at her. She's the only thing that makes that "Don't Worry, Darling" movie worth sitting through. But a lot of the rest of the supporting cast does do a really good job. It's the first time that I've actually liked Julia Louis-Dreyfus in one of these movies where she actually felt important and essential to the big picture and the narrative, and not just tacked on like, hey, here's this character who might be important 80 movies and shows down the line, who knows. But the character who I think really does make this sing is Bob, played by Lewis Pullman. And he's an actor that I've always liked. I remember seeing him in Bad Times at El Royale years ago, and him really making a strong impression there. And obviously popping up in Top Gun and the other stuff that he's been in. But here I think this is the chance for him to really get to shine and show off what he can do as an actor and what he can bring, the qualities that he can bring to a part. And he makes the character really charming and sympathetic to where you do end up getting invested in him and his journey as the story progresses, particularly when it gets to the third act. And I think the third act, I like that it doesn't devolve into the typical Marvel climax of which blob of pixels can outpunch the other blob of pixels. Like, I know that at least back when the movie got announced, people were complaining about there being no like Abomination or no Abomination-esque character to shift up the dynamics of the team, like their power set and whatever. And I think that ends up working for the movie in a really strong way, because it allows the action to keep from getting so bombastic that your eyes just kind of glaze over, which I think has been an issue with Marvel lately. The action feels a lot more tactile, a lot more grounded, a lot more Terminator 2-esque, as Andrew said. I think that also helps that it doesn't feel like a typical superhero movie. It feels more like a boots on the ground, sort of like reluctant team up action flick. Sort of like, what if The Expendables was good? Sort of like that thing. Like if The Expendables actually lived up to the potential that it initially had. Yeah, I think it's also got like a really strong emotional through line in terms of how it deals with with a couple of characters' depression and loneliness, and how it actually gives that idea the room that it needs to really like breathe and come to the forefront when it needs to. And it's not like the whole movie is just that. Like it's not like After Sun of Marvel movies where the movie is designed to have you walk out of the theater feeling sort of depressed. Like it puts that off to the side when it needs to. Like the movie is still fun for a lot of it, but when it does need to come into the forefront and make that like sort of drive home that that's what the whole point of the story is, I do buy into it and I am invested. So yeah, this is the first Marvel movie in a while that didn't have James Gunn or Ryan Coogler's names on it, where I actually did find myself really like getting invested in it on a story level, and not just like, oh, there's that thing I recognize from another movie or a comic or whatever. Like it feels like a movie made by someone who actually had an idea for the movie, and not just like, here, let's put this out to tease something else, or it's on the schedule, let's just get it out there. So I really appreciated it for that.
Yeah. Nick, what about your thoughts?
Yeah, I gotta echo a lot of points that both Chris and Jay are saying. That I was, excited for this movie because of who was behind the camera, and also that this is Florence Pugh getting to lead one of these movies, because I thought she was easily the highlight of Black Widow, which is a movie that I'm not crazy about, but I think is worth watching just for her performance in that, and seeing the evolution of that character and how she plays off of the rest of the cast, especially David Harbour, who they have such a great arc in this movie. The big scene stealer of this is Lewis Pullman as Bob, who's an actor that I really like, and in the stuff I've seen him in, I really like him in Bad Times the El Royale. I think Lessons in Chemistry on Apple is a very underrated show, especially with him and Brie Larson. But this is the first time where I think in a long time in a Marvel movie that doesn't have James Gunn or Ryan Coogler, where this felt like there was an idea for a story based around character here. That this wasn't just, okay, this is on the slate, we need to follow up with these characters after Endgame, we need to just push a movie out to sell more toys, which I feel like a lot of the Marvel slate has been. It's like, as much as I wanted to like Captain America Brave New World, that movie just felt like this was corporate product that they had to push out a Captain America movie before Avengers. And with this felt like, okay, Jake Schreier, Joanna Callow, they had a story that they wanted to tell with these characters. They wanted to explore something, especially something I'll get more into when we get to spoilers, and that this is a team that does feel grounded. This is, these are the losers of the MCU, but they do such a good job of paying off that, because at any point, especially in the first act, which I think is the strongest point in this movie, because they are set up they were put on this assignment to kill each other. And then they, have to come together as a team. And they do a good job of dancing that line of, okay, when are they going to actually turn on each other? But that never happens.
Yeah, I was a person skeptical about this movie coming in. I wasn't super excited about it. And there are a lot of people in Chris's position that go like, okay, after Endgame, it's like, okay, I'm done. I don't. It's like after that point, it's like you had the big extravaganza. I don't want to see any more of these. And then some people complain about the quality of these recent movies after Endgame. And then even if there's a mildly decent one, the new slogan is "Best since Endgame." Best since Endgame. Best since Endgame.
Even the movies post Endgame that I've liked, kind of most of them, I'd say, except Guardians, Black Panther, and Shang-Chi, all of them kind of have a big ass asterisk next to that. Yeah, I liked it, but
yeah, that's the new kind of thing there with it. But yeah, I was very much surprised by this. I did like what this movie had to say. I did like what had this movie going on. I think it does play into the fact, because as Chris said, there were a lot of people complaining, including me, about the lineup. It's like, okay, well, they even make a joke about that of like, hey, it's a bunch of people who like, okay, it's fake ass Captain America, another fake ass Captain America, assassin.
Wait, so we all just punch and shoot?
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what you got. So it's not that much diversity in the team power wise, but it does come to, it does have a point in the movie of, like you said, these are the forgotten characters of kind of a lot of the MCU there for some of these people. Like, not, I mean, I don't know if there's a lot of huge Ghost fans and people who are fans of this.
Yeah, and even because in the Thunderbolts in the comics, they were, villains. The Thunderbolts in the comics is basically just Suicide Squad.
Well,
and they managed to do
Suicide Squad's very different, but like, it depends on which version of Thunderbolts, because there's like 5 different versions. So, to be clear, some of them skew maybe a little closer, but for the most part, the conceit is supervillains pretending to be superheroes.
Oh, okay. And here it's like none of these people were like straight up supervillains. There was always like a big asterisk next to all of the horrible things that they did. It was like Ghost, she was raised from childhood to be an assassin. John Walker, he was decorated combat veteran who was in a perfect world the perfect candidate to be Captain America, but the pressure got to him. Even Yelena was like another child assassin. Taskmaster, brainwashed up until the events of Black Widow.
Yeah. So yeah, you kind of got that going on there with this, and I think they do a good job exploring the dynamics of these characters. And like I said, do you have to see all the other things that they've come from? It helps, but I think they do a good job with the expository dialogue, giving everybody their backstories. Like, oh, you're this person who does this.
And
this,
and they do a good job. And the movie does a good job, is because I think audiences are kind of savvy enough to where, okay, we can feel the movie stop and just give an exposition dump, but every bit of dialogue, it does a good job of grounding it in humor and making it, feel natural when there is like a bit of exposition dumping. especially with the character backstories for people who aren't as inside baseball as the rest of us who've seen all these movies.
Yeah. And you mentioned Suicide Squad, something that was directed by James Gunn. He went to leave Marvel and join DC and do Suicide Squad. And he's kind of very famous and popularized the whole thing. Not that he invented it, but the formula of a ragtag group of losers, misfits, brought together to save the world, to do a greater good. Guardians, Suicide Squad, Creature Commandos, even Peacemaker. But I think that there is enough personality on its own identity. Thunderbolts. It's not just like, oh, it's just we're trying to do James Gunn. I think it has its own identity there. What do you think about that, Jay?
Yeah, this is a very different type of movie from Guardians or even Suicide Squad. With Suicide Squad, there's like an element of shadiness to every good thing that the characters do, just by the nature of like who is in that cast. And with Guardians, that movie, it has a different subject matter than this one is trying to explore.
Yeah. What about you, Andrew? What do you say?
Yeah, it's this is more of like the loser squad, finally having their moment. Whereas like Guardians, just a bunch, they're kind of a bunch of misfits who kind of aligned on the same thing and just kind of came together as a weird family. Still misfits, but not like these people all have like real issues. And what I like about this is that they really did ground that the issues of depression and alienation and mental health, and they did a great job with that.
Yeah, and I kind of saw this at the perfect time because I've been dealing with my own issues related to that, and I love movies, especially this is the first time in a long time with Marvel that I felt seen by a movie like this. This movie does such a good job of putting a face and giving a name to a condition like depression, more so than I think any other piece of media that I've seen in such a long time, that I can't help but love this movie.
Yeah, and I mean the fact that like I have my wife's bipolar, and like as Bob's describing his symptoms, I'm like, oh, it's bipolar, but they didn't have to say it. They gave you just enough information.
And just by the nature of who his character is, because I know we've said it before, but to not spoil it completely.
Yeah. Have you read the comic?
I've read a little bit of Sentry. I think the only one that I really saw him being a prominent character was in I think Bendis's New Avengers run back in the 2010s.
Okay.
That one where it was like the prison
where they
break.
retconned him to death. Yeah. The original one is kind of amazing because they actually it was originally developed by Rick Veitch and Paul Jenkins, and somewhere along the lines Veitch didn't. They actually did a story together that was like a proto-century, which was more or less dealing with depression and alcoholism. That you might want to track down. I think it was in Taboo, if I remember correctly. Yeah. I mean, Rick Veitch is great. Paul Jenkins is also great. A British writer who did not come in through 2001 like Alan Moore and all those other guys did for so many years, but he actually came to America and broke into indie comics. So he's got a kind of a unique style to a lot of his writing, and that's why he ended up at Marvel writing the Wolverine's origin and Century, and an actual really good Inhumans comic.
Nice, very good.
Unlike that movie or TV series.
So yeah, going to get you guys final thoughts, rating for it, and going to spoiler talk there after that. Chris Harris, what are your thoughts there? Final thoughts, rating, man, for Thunderbolts there.
Yeah, this is the first Marvel movie in a while where I was actually like engaged with it and wasn't just sort of rolling my eyes at a bunch of jokes that weren't funny and a bunch of sequel teases that I don't care about and Easter eggs that mean nothing to me because I'm not someone who reads comics like every day of my life. But yeah, I really enjoyed most, if not all, of the characters. They actually give each of them like their own sort of arc that plays out across the movie in a way that feels earned, and it makes me want to see more of them. Um, it's not quite enough to where like I'm fully like back on board the Marvel
Mm.
train. Like they've got stuff coming up that I'm still sort of skeptical about, but it is enough to make me go like, all right, if they end up making more movies that I hear from people I trust, not people who insist that everything they do post Endgame is amazing, people who like approach it with like a healthy level of skepticism. If they're also saying that like, hey, this is as good if not better than Thunderbolts, then yeah, it's enough to where like, all right, within reason, I will still go see these movies if they have something to offer me that can that speaks to what I like in a movie, which this manages to do, where it delivers on the set pieces and the fun that these movies should, but it's also got a little more going on beneath the surface than it presents itself as in the marketing. So yeah, I'd say tune in.
Tune in. Okay. What about you there, Nick?
Yeah, kind of like what Chris is saying, that this is, I can, genuinely say no asterisk, no like other bullshit, that this is the best Marvel movie that I've seen in such a long time. This feels like it's going back to the magic of what made phase 1 to 3 so good, where it is a story about character and theme first, and all the superhero stuff is just is just gravy with it. The story that they're telling with this ragtag group of misfits, they do such a good job of giving every character their arc and their moment to shine, and they do such a good job of playing off each other that I was, captivated completely. Especially, I think the first act is phenomenal, and the second act is good, but not as great. The third act, it does something that I don't think any Marvel movie had done in a long time, which is showcase the strength of these characters, not as, these are going to be the guys that are, saving the world, punching the big blob of CG pixels. This is the group that makes it point to like showcase them saving civilians, which I don't think any Marvel movie has done since like Age of Ultron, which is like kind of insane. And the real final emotional climax of this movie, it was one that I was kind of sobbing in my seat as I was watching the movie, especially once you get to a certain scene with Yelena and Bob. I was like, I got to give this. This is peak bordering on cinema for me. This is one of my favorites of the year so far.
Wow.
This is one that I'm, excited if Marvel takes the right lesson from the success of this movie. Because, coming off of, a lot of the press from this, a lot of the failings of phases 4 and 5, it might have been issues related to how Disney was handling this. It might not be, but hopefully they learned the right lesson, because unlike a lot of the other MCU movies, this one looks and feels like an actual film. This looks like sets were used. They, tried to minimize effects. It was like the big aspect of the marketing is we used real stunts in this. It was like we shot stuff on location. We, wanted to do as much practical as we could. We didn't like overly rely on the volume or green screen.
They blew up that building.
They killed people.
Yeah. They really sent people to the Shadow Realm.
It was amazing.
Yeah. It was awesome. But yeah, I really love this. This is probably my favorite movie since Endgame. And it did a rare thing, because I was kind of skeptical. It was like by the time Thunderbolts came around, it was like Marvel movies, this event from my childhood and my young adulthood. It was like I was there opening night every Marvel movie. And lately it's felt more like a chore than it ever has in my life. And it feels like, I don't know if we're completely back yet, but some of that magic is back, at least with this one. And I'm excited for Fantastic Four and what they do with that.
So, peek from Nick there, bordering on the cinema. Andrew, what about you? What's your final thoughts rating there?
The one thing about Marvel Comics that always appealed to me is the fact that their comics were very grounded and character driven. Unlike the other was DC, was kind of the two. And DC was always very corporate top down because it was owned by Warner Brothers forever. Whatever. That's not really but what made the Marvel movies great is that they understood that those lessons that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby gave to us in those early days of Marvel, and make those character driven stuff, and you can get a little crazy, which Marvel movies are fairly tamed down from the comics. I mean, my favorite thing about the original, the very first issue of Thunderbolts, is that they were a bunch of villains masquerading as heroes, like brand new heroes. And at the end of the first issue, the Citizen 5 pulls off his mask to reveal he's Baron Zemo, but he's wearing the Baron Zemo mask because in the comics he glued that thing to his face. So it's just stupid fun, and I love that stuff. But they don't do that in the movies. That's fine. I'm okay with that. You don't always you can get a little goofy, but this is so I also have a very high tolerance for this shit because I watched all that stuff from the 80s and 90s and 70s growing up, and loved it, and even though a lot of that's garbage. But anyways, yeah, no. So this is actually nice to kind of get back to the roots of what not just Marvel movies, but what Marvel comics are. Is grounded people, real people dealing with stuff. It's not just that Spider-Man is going to go around and beat somebody up. It's that, oh no, Aunt May's sick and he has to get her prescription while this bank's being robbed.
Yeah, he's trying to get Aunt May that toaster at the bank. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what would be your rating there? What would you?
Definitely tune in.
Tune in. Okay. Yeah. I mean, we've kind of gone back and forth. A lot of people are like, Marvel's so bad. No, Marvel's done. No, Marvel's so bad. No, Marvel's done. Or everything is the best since Endgame. I don't think. I think the best movie for me since Endgame, if I had to pick one, is Guardians 3. But I think Thunderbolts is below it. I think it's like either 2 or 3. This or Wakanda Forever is battling there for 2 or 3. And yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by this. I liked a lot of the cast here and what they did with the characters. I liked what they did with Lewis Pullman coming in as the Bob character there, and how this movie, is representing depression, is representing mental illness there. I thought that was very well done there, and this movie will hit you in the feels there, and you're probably not expecting that maybe with a Marvel movie. And I thought that was really good. Florence Pugh being one of the pretty much the leads of this, really, and I think Florence Pugh also as Yelena has been one of the best things character-wise since post Endgame. I think that's what a lot of the kind of loss of direction with the MCU is. Who are the new real big characters that we're following now that there is no more Black Widow, there is no more Tony Stark, there is no more Steve Rogers? Who are the new big characters that were newer that we're going to get interested in and invested in and follow? And I think Florence Pugh as Yelena does a great job at that. And I think she's been one of the bigger things to come out of the MCU since Endgame there. I've been very impressed by that. So I love that. And to Chris Ayers' point, the ending of this, it isn't your typical superhero ending, punch, punch, shoot, shoot. 2 big CGI armies fight each other. There isn't that. There isn't the beam in the sky. There isn't that in this, so which I very much greatly appreciated. So it's a very, very much different tone there you get from your normal superhero movie, which I liked a lot. And it showed, like I said, more of like the personality and actual creativity of the artist, of the director, of the writers coming into this to tell their story, which I did like. And the action scenes or look good. And I don't think there was any really bad effect moment in here for me. And the moment where you get to like you see in the trailer where people are just disappearing, that looks horrifying. I mean, that looks really
the way it starts too is kind of horrifying.
Yeah. That was really well done. The humor in it, I disagree with Chris Ayers' point on just I don't think it has your typical annoying Marvel. I mean, there's Red Guardian who's the main comic relief.
He's the main comic relief, but everything in the humor, especially with him, because he is meant to be Yelena's goofy dad.
Yeah,
and he's even in Black Widow. That was kind of a thread of his character. He was like. He's basically Bob from The Incredibles, where he's yearning for his glory days, if they were ever a thing.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they balance the humor. It's not so overly jokey like how most of these Marvel movies are. I think they balance it pretty well for me. So for me, I would give this a strong tune in. For me, with this. So low peak, high peak from Nick there. Tune
Yeah.
in from Chris. Tune in from Andrew there, as well with Thunderbolts there. And we're going to get into a spoiler review and do that. So if people have not seen it, have not heard about it, which I don't know how you haven't, they basically put the ripped off
They
billboard.
spoiled. Yeah, they had my man Sebastian Stan putting up billboards for this. It was like, damn, those tariffs are hitting hard.
Yeah. So this is the spoiler talk right now. And so why it's called Thunderbolts Asterix, as we learn, is that's not the real team name here. They become the new Avengers. So this team that you see on the screen are the new Avengers here. But they're now, instead of Nick Fury leading up the Avengers as being kind of the main head figure, you have Julia Louis-Dreyfus' character who's doing that. Kind of forced to do it in a way to cover up for her terrible deeds that what she
Oh
did.
yeah, because it's like it was kind of hilarious to see that, because this all is being set off because she was responsible for the Sentry Project, which is, a lot of illegal experimentations on humans. A lot of subjects died, so she's, scrambling to cover up, and she sent all of the members of our Thunderbolts to this vault to be incinerated, and Bob included.
Yeah.
And who knows who else was in there?
Yeah. And Taskmaster, as we probably called it already, didn't make it out.
Yeah, the one who was in like one trailer and none of the other marketing. It was like, oh, they killed the fuck out of Taskmaster.
Yeah, it was kind of obvious of who was
Yeah.
gonna be the expendable one there. Even though I thought she'd be killed by Sentry and not just one. I thought she'd be probably
Yeah.
killed by
She's the
Apparently-
Slipknot of this movie for sure.
Yeah.
Apparently, the original script of the movie had her live, and there's a big thing where Ghost becomes her mentor.
Oh yeah,
to-
I remember seeing that. There was like a running gag where Taskmaster would like forget things and start trying to kill John Walker.
Yeah, and the problem is that like everything that they did with her was already being repeated by like everything else in the movie. And just so killing her off made sense. But apparently the guy who wrote the first draft didn't read the other drafts. So when he saw the movie, he was actually shocked that they killed her.
Oh, well, at least he was surprised. He was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, something new." Hey,
So
yeah.
I'm assuming that people who didn't, who don't pay attention to things, who aren't like online too much like we are,
Yeah.
had that same reaction to that. So
Yeah, which I mean, I imagine not a lot of people are that sad about it. I know Taskmaster was a pretty hated character from Black Widow, and the way that was done.
I was like, there was a way in which that movie's interpretation of Taskmaster could have worked, but I'm kind of like, that character's gone.
Yeah. So you got that. So yeah, so a lot of the movie is them kind of teaming up to really kind of expose Valentina De Fontaine there, expose her for basically trying to get them all killed.
Yeah, they're not. That isn't even their goal at first. Their goal is just get out of Dodge and survive. It isn't until Bucky captures them in that like epic Terminator 2 montage, and that they, that Valentina has captured Bob and is like trying to turn him into the Sentry as her puppet.
Yeah.
which apparently before he filmed that scene, he was actually listening to the score of Terminator 2.
Nice.
So through his head, while he's like on the motorcycle filming, his brain's just like ba-dum.
I love it. And especially like because this is context, because Walker knows Bucky, he's fought with him, he's like hyped to see his boy again, and then the grenade pops up on the back of their car. It's like, shit.
Yes.
So they become at the very end the new Avengers there, as you see. And there are post-credit scene. There's a first there, mid one, and then there's a end one there. And I feel like a lot of these end credit scene, a lot of these ones, these new recent Marvel have been pretty terrible across the board. But this one actually is really good, it's really strong, and it does set up. You see them and they have their own. I think they're in the Avengers Tower.
They're in the original Avengers Tower. Valentina is the one who bought it, which that was a mystery that's been set up since Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yes.
Yeah. So she was the one that bought it there. So they're there. Bucky's hair looks fantastic. He's got a nice,
just gorgeous. It was like It was like that. My whole thing was like during the whole fight scene with Sentry, because as he should have, he dog walks them. He's like kind of nervous at first, and even Lewis Pullman in the super suit, he like looks uncomfortable. He looks like a kid playing dress up. And even just more and more as the fight scene goes on, he's just getting more annoyed and just gets bored from whooping their asses. Even Bucky, who like tries to like aura farm, take his jacket off, show off them biceps, it's like rips his arm off and slaps him with it.
Yeah. Rips his arm like Buzz Lightyear. Yeah. He's always losing that arm, man. He's always losing that.
Yeah.
But Sentry can basically do everything in the book. He can fly. He's strong. He's got a form of telekinesis. He's got like a invulnerable shield around him, and he's also just purely invulnerable there.
It's like it was so funny, especially because originally Bob was supposed to be played by Steven Yeun, and you could hear it like in the dialogue because they dropped the name Invincible so many times.
Oh, yeah. And there is concept art of Steven Yeun as the character. Did do the concept art. I think he had to drop away because
there was schedule conflicts with Mickey 17.
Yeah, so he did that there. So he dropped out for that. Chris Ayers, what do you think about kind of some of the spoilers? Anything you want to get into there?
I mean, you guys covered pretty much everything. Even a blind man could have seen that Taskmaster was going to die. I was still caught off guard how quickly they killed her off, to the point that I'm wondering why they even bothered like getting the actress back. Like she has like one line that she says without the mask, and then immediately it's like bam, shot in the face and a fucking burned to a crisp. During that like little fail-safe sequence.
Not just that, it was like even before the incinerator goes off, they're looting her body.
Yeah.
She deserved better.
It was like, hey, she would have wanted me to have it.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And but yeah, I do agree with the whole Sentry thing, because at first I was kind of caught off guard. I was like, man, that doesn't look right on Pullman. But then you sort of you realize, like, oh yeah, that's the point. Yeah,
because this is, Val trying to basically be like Vought in The Boys. It is like she is trying to push Sentry as like this corporate product with a person like Bob who, through no fault of his own, is not the right person to try and become a superhero.
Right.
Yeah. Some people were saying that they were too harsh on John Walker. They were a little too mean on him. Did you all think about that? That they were a little too. They were kind of.
I think it's a difference between what his character is supposed to be in the different medias we've seen him in. Because in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he's meant to be an antagonist. We're meant to really dislike him. And through subsequent rewatches of it, I start to kind of see more of his side, where he is the guy who was chosen by the government, but who really wants to do right by the Shield. He's just not the right person for the job. And here we start to see, especially in the beginning, where John is much more of an asshole to everybody in the Thunderbolts, especially Bob. You start to see those walls kind of come down. You start to see Steve, the man who was the Captain America who never was.
Yeah, it's also nice that I mean, the comic book, John Walker is always a jackass. Like he is always at 11, really unlikable character. And Wyatt Russell is charming. He's likable. He's got a certain charisma to him. And I always you could see that he, especially in the Godzilla series he did with his dad, where they're playing the same character.
So God, it feels so good.
Yeah, I mean, Kurt Russell's got a lot more charisma than his son does, but that's okay. That's okay. We're not, not judging him there. But like there's a charm to him, and that was what I liked about him when he was first introduced. I'm like, okay, this is a different John Walker than the comic. I was wondering if they were going to use his other alias, because at one point John Walker needed to have an alias, so they changed his name to Jack Daniels. Because he has to be named after an alcoholic beverage, I guess. Maybe Budweiser was already taken. I don't know.
Well, I don't know how you can work Yangling into a name.
Yeah. Well, maybe with Steven Yeun playing him, that would have been a different. um, but yeah, no, it's but no, I liked the thing is though, it's like here you kind of get to actually see him bring his guard down a bit because he always kind of had it up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier and at the beginning of the movie where he's a bit of a dick. And he kind of never stops being a dick to Bob. But
yeah, especially like in the first act when they finally get out of the basement where he's, trying to take charge, which, he is kind of super qualified to do.
Yeah,
like the thing is it all comes from a place of showing off.
Yeah, and he just isn't a good leader is the thing. He has like the potential of being a great team member, but like he thinks he's Captain America and like through the movie he kind of stepped back, let his guard down and let the other people, take over and I think it worked better for him. And you start to actually, root for him a little bit. I do think they could have done a little more with that, but I think there was a lot of stuff they could have done a little more of because I don't think they developed Ghost enough in this either. Tragically underdeveloped because she has such a great backstory and that. But I mean, this is Yelena's story, to be honest with you. It's not any of the other characters. So
yeah.
I understand why. I just hope that she finally gets a real moment to shine as a hero, as Ghost. Like a ghost-centered story.
She'd be good in if they do one of those one shots, maybe she'd be good.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome for her. There. Yeah. I mean, Yelena is, I think, definitely her and Bob are the two big real standouts in this movie. I think,
and they're also the focal point. Like they are the antagonist and the protagonist.
Yeah. And what they do with Bob and him being the void and how that's kind of a metaphor for the depression and everything like that. I thought that was handled really, really well.
Especially in the third act, because the third act takes place, after they have the big set piece of, it's not the Thunderbolts like fighting Bob because they tried that, it failed horribly. It's them just trying to save civilians. It's them trying to, save people, which is not nearly as big a focus as it should be in like most superhero movies, even now. But the real emotional climax is in the void with between Bob and Yelena in one of his shame rooms, where we see the abuse that Bob suffered as a kid, and it's so heartbreaking to watch, especially with Lewis Pullman's performance. And you start to see more as Yelena, reaches out to him and is like has that line of, it doesn't go away, but if together it feels a little lighter, and even the background of the room lights up. It was just, damn, this movie is so good.
Yeah. So Andrew, you being a comic book guy, where do you see? I mean, we saw the stinger there with it, and that's a stinger. I think that's mostly probably from Doomsday. I think because Anthony and Joe Russo.
Joe and Anthony Russo shot and directed that set.
They actually did that 4 weeks ago.
Okay, nice.
Which is amazing.
So where do you think these characters go from here?
Oh, that's tough to say because I think we'll really know once Fantastic Four comes out, because that one's kind of a big question mark because it looks like they're trying to do a lot in that movie, and I'm worried that they're not going to be quite as successful, even though that is a great cast that they have as Fantastic Four. And just the trailers that I've seen, they look like they gel really well together. So I am actually looking forward to it. It's just what that movie has to do to kind of get us prepared for Doomsday. I'm worried that it might not have, it might not succeed at doing that.
Okay. And Sentry, do you think, I mean, he's going to be a major player there, given how OP he is? You think you're going to try to make it like, oh, he can't be really the Sentry kind of guy because he's so OP'd? And I mean, in this current MCU, is he the most powerful character in all of the MCU?
He pretty much is. I mean, his weakness is the fact that he is also a villain, and that's why I was like annoyed by the whole retconning of that Bendis did to the character, because I thought it kind of ruined a lot of what made him unique and interesting, and then he just ends up being another like Superman knockoff, which is the whole point, that he's not. He's set up to be Superman, but he has this dark side to him. So it's not, it's a very fresh character, comparatively speaking.
Yeah, and yeah, Sentry is kind of like in the comics, he's kind of like the walking nuclear option. Because like he's the break glass in case of emergency, we're all fucked kind of character.
Yes.
Because every time you like use Sentry, there is like that ticking time bomb of, okay, when is the void coming out?
Yeah.
And the brilliant thing is, do you know about how they first rolled out and introduced us to Sentry in the comics?
I'm not familiar, no.
Okay, this is absolutely brilliant. Now, like I said before, it was originally developed by Paul Jenkins and Steve Bissett. And they somehow along the lines it ended up Jay Lee was working on it, and Jose Vallarrubia, and I hope I said his name right. He did the beautiful job picking the colors for the costume, trying to make him not look like Superman. And it was like this. But what they did that was kind of brilliant is they actually got Stan Lee to say in a actual like Marvel, a comic book magazine, not like in the back pages of a Marvel book, but in like Wizards, which was like the big magazine about comics. That we published a book called Century before we did Fantastic Four, but I totally forgot about it. And there's like this fake comic artist that did it who wasn't Jack Kirby. It was like I forget the name that they used, and like Stan Lee and this other guy created this character, and he was supposed to be Marvel Superman, and then they forgot about it. So the whole thing is that the Marvel universe forgot this guy existed, and as they go through the origin, people start remembering who he was. And so like he had all these big adventures with the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man and the Hulk, and really interesting dynamics with these characters. As the series went out, they had like these little one shots to kind of explore that. You don't need to read the one shots, even though some of them are just beautiful, but you do, like the whole series, and plus the final, there's like a separate issue that's kind of wraps everything up beautifully. Kind of tells you the story of Sentry, and it's about alcohol abuse, because he gets his powers from drinking the formula, and he hasn't drunk it in years. It feels very much like a Miracle Man. If you ever read Alan Moore's Miracle Man, a very similar feel to the beginning, where he kind of remembers that in Miracle Man, it opens up with like a loser guy in his mid 40s who remembers the magic words to turn himself into a superhero. And that's where the story kind of begins. And this, very similarly, this loser guy in his 40s remembers, oh man, I got this drink, and if I drink it, I become a superhero. And it's the addiction of that, and the void is part of that addiction, which is great. And I definitely recommend reading that. And they did a good job of like picking enough from it to tell the story without being able to, without repeating it, but also making it work for what it is, which I really liked. And I'm glad that they didn't go like, oh yeah, he was in it in the game. Remember when he fought Thanos? That would have been terrible.
Looks like we really enjoyed Thunderbolts all around there. So very nice. Thank you so much, Andrew. Thanks, man, for showing up. Thanks for coming by for the review. I don't know if you want to.
I got one more story for you if you got a minute.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
I
mean,
it was this was in back in '98. I was at that comic book art museum, and Bernie Wrightson was doing a speech. And if you don't know who Bernie Wrightson is, he's the co-creator of Swamp Thing. He kind of was the first artist to really make zombies look like what we think of zombies today. Absolute legend. He did set design work on Ghostbusters. So like he made Slimer. He worked on The Faculty. Like he's done Stephen King books. Like the man's an absolute legend. And he gave a speech about his career, which was amazing. Afterwards, he goes out front of the museum and he's smoking, and I'm hanging out talking with him, and so are a couple other people. And this British guy explodes out of the museum. And he's just like, Betty, oh, buddy, it's great to see you again. He's like, hey, let's go grab a beer. And Bernie turns to me and the other people and is like, hey, guys, because he's got like this deep, like smoke choke voice. Hey, guys, want to come join us? So I'm just like, trying to keep it cool. And I'm just like, yeah. So we go to this bar, and the British guy disappears in it, and he brings us around back. And I walk in. The first thing I see in the bar is a hammerhead shark with an arm hanging out of it, and I'm like, okay, we're in the right place. They take us to this back room. It's like this library. We kept expecting like the bookcase to spin around and the waitress to come out with their drinks. It was a if you actually walk into this place, it's like filled with like old signs from the town, paintings of like homeless people and prostitutes. It's such a surreal place to visit. And so we're sitting there, and the British guy just starts talking, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm leaving Hellblazer. I got this call from Jimmy and Joe, and we're going to be doing this new comics called I think they're calling it Marvel Knights. and he was actually working on a pitch for a Black Widow book at the time. Ended up becoming Inhumans with Jay Lee. But he stopped and he goes, I've introduced myself. I'm Paul. And I'm like, oh crap, this is Paul Jenkins.
Oh shit.
This is the guy who created the Century, who ended up, later on writing the origin of Wolverine.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I'm having dinner with him and Bernie Wrightson right now. And Bernie Wrightson was just about to sign a deal with this, which ended up becoming that terrible Punisher series he did. I know Bernie's not listening because he's dead now, but wherever he is, I'm sorry to say that.
Damn.
The artwork was beautiful, but that okay. So in the 90s, they killed off the Punisher by him committing suicide, and they did this series where where God brings him back to life to kill demons, which is like the worst Punisher thing you've ever read.
Like even Punisher was like in Welcome Back Frank, where they mentioned that. I was like, yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just an absolute amazing night. It culminated. We ended up going to another bar after that bar we were at, and at the end of the night, Paul Jenkins looks at Bernie Wrightson and asks one of those questions like that you just want to hear somebody answer. And he goes, as an artist, do you feel that your work is constantly getting better, or do you have like an epiphany and your work is suddenly better? And I'm like, oh, this will be interesting. And Bernie's like, oh, I feel like my work's been in a decline. I'm losing my eyesight. Just a real genuine answer, which was a little sad, but beautiful and poignant and thoughtful. And then Paul Jenkins turns to me and asked me about my art. So that was an absolute, just amazing night. 20 years old, just, having all of this happen to me. Now, about, what was this? This was in October, about maybe 7 months later, the Word and Pictures Museum was having a release party for the Marvel Knights line. So they had everybody, Kevin Smith, Joe Quesada, Jimmy Palmiotti, Mark Texiera, and was it M.D. Bright? Or no, who was the guy who wrote the Black Panther series? I can't remember. He was funny though. Christopher Priest, that's his name. What am I saying? M.D. Bright. Christopher Priest. All those guys were there. And so is Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee, who were, the creators of Century. And I asked if Paul Jenkins remembered me from that night, and he says, like, no, mate, I'm sorry, I don't. But I got some cool stories from that party, and that's another story from another time. But yeah, that's how I met the creators of Century.
Wow, that is awesome.
Thank you so much there, Andrew. Will you be back? Help me with Fantastic Four?
I would love to.
I would love to have you
Hey.
on. Yeah. Well, got to have 4 people on. Throw up the 4s. Got to have 4 people throw up the 4.
Oh, damn it. Am I going to have to light myself on fire for it?
Yeah. I mean, I think you got to be the Human Torch, man. You got to do that.
Yeah.
Do it for the squad, man.
Well, I see Chris is already ready to be the Thing.
It's kind of King Shark. Yeah, that's kind of Thing-esque already. Andrew, one more time, let people know they can find you. Got going on. What you got coming up next, man?
Yeah, find me at right about now too on just about any of the social media sites. I know I got some cool projects coming up, but nothing I can really say right now. Other than tune in to give them an argument when we come back from our now extended break. and hopefully I got something awesome to be able to share next time.
Very awesome. This is the channel. Give them arguments. I'll make sure to put the link in the description below when I upload the video. Very awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah. Make sure you check out my music episode I did a few weeks ago. It was a lot of fun, a lot of stress because 2 of my guests canceled last minute. But I think it turned out to be a great episode.
Thank you. Yeah, and thanks for working with me on the time. I know I changed the time like 2 different
Oh, no
times.
problem, no problem. I kind of did that to you the last time because
Yeah.
I had that movie, the film festival.
Yeah. So thanks for working with me, man.
Yeah, no, thanks for working with me
Thank
too.
you.
It's not a problem at all.
All right. Take care, man. Have a good night.
Hey, you too now.
All right. Chris, I won't keep you on for too much longer, man. We're gonna do this Black Mirror review, and we're gonna have you head out of there, and then me and Nick will wrap up the show there. Thanks for sticking with me, man. I don't want you to be up for too late. Got anything going on tomorrow?
Work.
Oh, shit.
Once again. Thankfully, it doesn't start until a little after 10, so I'm not gonna have to go to bed too early. And it'll be a lot cooler tomorrow if my app is accurate than it was last week, where I think it got up to like 90 degrees on a couple of days, 95 degrees even.
Okay.
So yeah, just business as usual.
Okay. I'll make sure to do this. Let's do Black Mirror real quick. And then Nick, you could do Reacher and then do the trailers and then head out.
I've actually got to, I got to work early. I got to be up at like 5 and it's
shit.
11:30 for me already.
Okay. So just do these
I'll take off. I'll let you guys cover Black Mirror. It's been, a while since I've watched all the episodes, but yeah, I'll head out. You can find me on all the socials, Night and Day Nick, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Letterboxd. My favorite episode was the last one, USS Callister into Infinity. That was my favorite of this batch of episodes.
All right. Cool. Thank you, Nick. Yeah, all right, man. I want you to take care. Have a good night, man.
All right, you too.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Did you see the trailers there? There at Ironheart Superman? Did you see?
Yeah, I saw those.
Okay. Want to do let's do Black Mirror and then real quick do the trailers?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's do that. All right, I'll hurry up. Bring this up. All right. Very, very cool. All right, so let's go. So our next review is going to be for the television series Black Mirror. This is the 7th season of this anthology show here. It consists of 6 episodes here in this season. We have some returning episodes there. A sequel episode with USS Callister into Infinity, which was a sequel to the episode that came out. I think it was that was on the last season of the show, season 6. There, you also have some references to some other episodes. Like you have an episode that references Netflix's Bandersnatch, that Black Mirror special, which I heard they're taking it off of Netflix anyway. I heard they're taking that off actually.
Oh wow!
They're doing away with interactive television or something like that. They said they were doing actually removing it from it, Bandersnatch. But so watch it while you still can before they remove it. So it consists of 6 episodes there. We're just going to be discussing each episode briefly, discussing our favorite one, our worst one, and how we like it. So we're going to go through the row of each episode, discuss it, and then after we're done with that, we're going to rank them and then give our overall thoughts of the season. All right, so the first episode here is Common People. Common People is one starring Rashida Jones there. And that other actor, his name is what's
Chris O'Dad.
Chris O'Dad there. Wasn't he from the IT Crowd?
Yeah, the IT Crowd, Bridesmaids.
Yeah, he was that. He's that actor there. Rashida Jones, she's been in things, Parks and Recreations. She was in, she had a huge role in that. So a lot of what Common People about is so there's this world there that these characters live in, where they can basically there's a company that can help keep people alive even if they've had a serious accident or something like that by putting on this device here that helps basically restart their brain in a way and basically keep them alive. But as they think at first it's this miracle thing. Chris O'Dowd, when his wife goes gravely ill and then she needs this, he thinks it's a godsend. He's like, oh, thank God my wife can get this technology and then I can have her with me again and be with me. But then he learns that there's all these different fees and different prices. And he just works a normal construction job. She's just a teacher. They don't have that much money. And he's like, how am I going to afford all these payments? It's forcing him to work all these different shifts. And then even when he works all these different shifts and pays for the base model of this subscription service that he has, that his wife has now with this technology, it requires him to upgrade. So if they want to leave their little small town and go elsewhere, they have to upgrade to the premium package. And if they want to add this, and then all of a sudden she learns that she gets random ads start playing that she has to repeat. And then if they want to get rid of that, they have to upgrade for that, and they have to do all these various upgrades and all this, and pay all this money, and that forces Chris O'Dowd's character to go down some dark roads in order to make those payments, until unfortunately it's just too much. What's your thoughts on Common People?
Yeah, I'm torn on whether or not this is my favorite episode that I've watched so far. To be clear, I haven't managed to watch all the episodes yet. I was actually like cramming them like for the past like several hours before coming on here because I've been busy with so much other stuff. I'm like that kid in school who doesn't like prepare his class project until like 2 o'clock in the morning before it's due. It's like, oh shit, I gotta like scramble all this together. But I this is one of the ones that I did see all the way through, and I don't know if it's my favorite of the ones that I've seen, but I do think it's by far the most impactful because with the little bit of time that they have, you do get pulled into the relationship between Jones and O'Dowd. Like you buy them as a couple, you feel the love between the two of them, and you feel sympathy for her when this whole predicament starts to occur. And you sympathize with him even more when you see how far he's willing to go to try and make her life easier and try to keep her around and make her happy. And it causes when stuff does start to go wrong more and more and the obstacles do start to pile up more and more, you feel a sadness as the episode really progresses, and when it gets to its conclusion and how far O'Dowd has gone and what the consequences that Jones has suffered as a result of her predicament. It's really emotional, heavy stuff, and the two of them do such a good job of carrying that and conveying that across the entirety of the episode. And it's a really good chance for them to show off their dramatic chops because they are mostly known for comedy, I feel like, and this is a chance for them to sort of break away from that and show that they can do more than just make you laugh. They can also tug at your heartstrings in a really effective way.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. I think they make a great married couple there. And two people, and he really wants his wife to be safe and be taken care of, and to see the lengths he's willing to go to get that done is very much, really dramatic and sad to watch there, of how far he has to go to do that, to make these payments. And very much this episode is kind of a reference and an analogy for the healthcare system, for people who, what I mean, pay for, healthcare, and they think like, "Oh, I'm already paying the premium price, but then you're telling me I can't even get the surgery or prescriptions I need because now I have to pay this extra price, or it's not covered, or it's not this, and I have to pay even extra money, even though I'm already paying the more max money I can also possibly pay for this." And you have it where, like, they are literally, her life is in this company's hands. If he doesn't stop making these payments, his wife will die if he doesn't stop making these payments there. And it's just kind of this dystopian kind of look at things there. And the person who sells him on this technology, and the one who's the representative for the company, is played by Tracy Ellis Ross there, who does that. And just how she's trying to, sell it to him and pitch it to him, of premium and premium plus, and premium plus plus, that you could do all this. Did you think that there was a moment it was going to be like a Luigi Mangione situation? Did you think that was? I thought that was kind of where it was going at the end, as opposed to where it initially went. Did you ever have that any feeling at all?
I wasn't thinking that as I was watching it, but now that you bring it up, it's like, oh yeah, I could definitely see O'Dowd pulling something like that. Especially one blow up scene that he has towards the end of the episode is like, oh, is he gonna fucking like strangle her or like beat the shit out of her or whatever? So yeah, but at the same time, it's like you get it because like you do feel sympathy for them, and it's a situation that they're in that is not either of their faults. It's just one of those like sort of tragic things where neither of them asked to be in this particular situation, but they're in it anyway, and they're struggling to figure out how to deal with that and how to cope with it.
Mm, yeah. Um, and spoiler, this is, I think, my favorite of the season. I think Common People is my favorite of the season. There, I did like this a lot. Next episode. The next episode here, you have Betty Noir there, which is an episode about. So it deals with this woman who works at this candy company there. They manufacture candy. And there's this new hire that comes into the place, and this new hire is a friend. Well, actually, not friend, but someone that the girl knew in high school there, way back when. And she kind of in the main character is Maria, who's played by Sania Kelly there, who I've not seen this actress before myself. But yeah, so she comes in there and it's like, well, we didn't really have the best relationship, and that girl kind of had a bad reputation and everything like that. And this episode, it's all about is kind of gaslighting. Like this character with this able to do, like, she's saying like, no, you did this thing, but then when they play it back, that thing is not what happened. And then it's the character kind of Maria, who's the main character, slowly losing her mind and trying to expose this woman. It's like, no, I know this woman is evil. I know what she does is bad, and you all just don't understand. And it kind of plays with the audience even more so. They did that, even extended it, because in the episode they kind of have like a Berenstein Bears type situation where she's trying to remember the name of this company that her boyfriend used to work for. Do you remember what was the name of it? I can't remember. It was like Chucky's or something, or Bucky's or something like that. Uh,
Yeah, something like that, or
and
like Steve's maybe.
yeah, and she's like, it's spelled this way. It's called with an A or with an E or something. And they're like, no, it's with an E. It's like, no, it's with an A. I know that I've looked at this forever. And then when she looks it up, it's something that it's totally different, something that she was wrong on, and she can't believe it. So
Bernie's.
Bernie's, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So there's that. I was kind of disappointed by this episode there. I thought this episode had a lot more potential in the premise of it, because of getting into the gaslighting aspect of it, getting in also to the racial aspects of it, of being a black woman. And then there's this white coworker that comes in. If you've spoken to some black women or heard some black women stories about being maybe and she's the, uh, well, no, she's not the only black woman, because the person who's like the scientist for the candy, was that woman black? I'm trying to remember. Um,
Yeah, she is.
yeah, so but she's one of the very few black people that work in this office. And then there's always, you do hear about that, of like a white woman coming in and then automatic assuming microaggressions, assuming aggression from black women when none is there, or the white woman's automatically going to be believed more than the black woman, and the white woman has going to have more innocence attached to her than the black woman there, as opposed to there that so you have that kind of going on in that dynamic. I don't think they really, and I think where this movie, I mean, where this episode really falls apart is the ending. I hate the ending of this episode. What say you?
Yeah, so far of the episodes, it's my least favorite, but I still think it's okay. Like, it does have an interesting setup where these two obviously recognize each other from someplace, and you spend the whole episode wondering, like, all right, what went down between the two of them, and what is this woman doing to make this other woman's life an absolute living hell right now, and why? And it does a good job of building that up. But yeah, I agree. The end, even though I like what it's trying to do in theory, I feel like that could have been its own episode, and the way it's executed here just feels kind of rushed and a little too convenient, in a way, in terms of how it plays out. So yeah, not one of my favorite episodes, but I don't think it's that like awful either. It's just kind of like, it's all right.
I would say it's battling for my worst episode or second worst episode of this season. I think a lot of missed opportunities here for this, of what they could explore and what they could kind of do there. The ending is really, I think, what kills this episode a lot. Of it, like I said, that explain the dynamic between white coworkers, black coworkers, the gaslighting, all that kind of thing going on there, and what's happened. Yeah, I just thought it was kind of a missed opportunity there for me. Um, the next episode that you have here is Hotel Riviera. So this episode, for a lot of people, this is the worst episode. I think I heard a lot of people talk about it. Interested in hear your thoughts on it, see if you agree. So this is episode starring Issa Rae and Aquafina here, and it's kind of dealing with AI technology. Especially, this is relevant now because of a lot of Hollywood movie studios using AI, bringing back actors from the past that have been dead and putting them in movies. Here, you have a situation where they're going to remake a Hollywood classic, Hotel Riviera, this classic Hollywood film from, seemed like from the 40s or the 20s. It seemed like around that era of film. And what they're going to do is they're going to put Issa Rae through technology. She's an actress, and they're going to put her inside the movie and basically remake the movie there again, except with her as the lead character. And then even though Issa Rae, the main character in the original movie is a white male and she's a black woman, the characters in the movie are only going to see her as the white male character from the actual thing. Um, then it's about like she has to actually play out the movie and follow it all the way to its conclusion. Because of course, with these things of like going to this virtual reality, they always do this thing where like if a character gets stuck in a virtual reality and they die there, then they die in the real world, and all this always happens there. What'd you think about this episode? I will say I think this or the Betty Noir episode was the weakest for me. What do you say?
I have not seen it yet. I watched these episodes in a weird order where I watched them. I just grabbed like a random list and like sort of like that was sort of ranking the episodes. Just like, all right, I'll watch from best to worst. I don't know why I chose to do that in hindsight. It would have made more sense to go from worst to best. But or I guess like the best is like obviously the one like you want to hear people talk about, I guess, if you think about it. So I guess that makes sense. But yeah, I haven't seen the yeah, because I did hear from a lot of people that it's one of the weaker ones, if not the weakest one. But I'm willing to give it a shot. I like Issa Rae. I like Emma Corrin, I think is in this episode. And I
Yes.
like and when she's used properly, I like Aquafina. When she's not voicing a cartoon animal, I like her quite a bit.
Yeah, Emma Corrin, she plays the lead actress, the love interest from the original film. And people just saw her. She was in Deadpool and Wolverine. She was the antagonist in that film. Uh,
Nosferatu.
yes, also yeah, Nosferatu, yeah, also that. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm because this was also another setup of a good premise of like what AI technology and its use on film and should they be doing it? Should they not be doing it? Does it really enhance anything by doing this of this classic film and changing it in this way by adding AI to it? Does it disrespect the legacy of the film? It doesn't really too much, I don't think, get into that and explore that in any way. And then there's this love story that comes in between Issa Rae and the Emma Corrin character that there's a moment where they get kind of stuck there for a while because like the system goes down and they're stuck there for presumably over a course of like a few weeks or maybe over a month, and it causes them to bond. I just didn't believe like because the bond that's created there apparently is so strong that now Issa Rae doesn't want to leave this world and doesn't want to go back to her world. I just didn't fully believe that all the way. I was like, you're gonna give up your life to just go to this fake world, and even though they say like if you don't get out now, you will die. Like if you don't reach the conclusion of this movie, you will die if you don't do that. So I wasn't. It's it seems like it's trying to be that episode. Do you remember that episode? What was it called? San Junipero. That episode of Black Mirror.
Yes, with I think it was Mackenzie Davis and Gugu Mbatha-Raw. I think were the two leads of that.
Yeah, it seems like it's trying to do something similar to that, but it doesn't have it doesn't have as good writing or emotional core for me.
Right.
With that, and that's considered one of the best episodes in all of Black Mirror and all the seasons of the show.
Hmm.
Um, so I was kind of disappointed by that. Do I like this less than it anymore? Um, I think it has a better ending than Betty Noir, so I would put it above it for me. Next up is Plaything is the next episode. This is the fourth episode here. Now this is the episode I was talking about that reference. Did you see this one?
Yeah.
So this is referencing the Bandersnatch has a connection to that one, where you have a video game creator there who works there, and he gets a task assignment from the Will Poulter character who was in Bandersnatch. He gets a task from him and says, you work on this video game, and it turns out there's like this artificial life forms that are in this game that he has to like take care of and manage. And we see kind of the story in two places. One from the past, we see him as a young man, and then one the older version where we see Peter Capaldi who plays the older version there. And he gets taken in by police and he gets interrogated and investigated about, did he commit this murder from back in the 90s? What did he do with the body? And it kind of leads him to talking about his whole kind of past with the video game and why he did it and all this. What were your thoughts on that?
I thought it was pretty cool. So far I'd rank it in the middle, where it does follow sort of the path that you would expect it to follow once you figure out what the setup is, and especially with how the episode opens. It starts in media res, where we meet this guy like present day, and he flashes back to the story of his younger self and how he got to where he is now, his current predicament. but I did find myself getting into it as it went on because I can kind of relate to it on in terms of like how I would sometimes get a little too attached to the characters in the video games that I would play. Like I would treat them like my pets or my children almost, and I would freak out whenever someone like deleted my game or canceled it or just fucked with it on any level. And I really dug the performances. I liked seeing Will Poulter as that character again. He's so engagingly weird, and I just realized I've seen like seen four different brand new projects with Will Poulter within the span of like a month and a half, which I thought was pretty funny. But yeah, I liked all the actors. The guy they got to play young Capaldi is a pretty good ringer for young Capaldi. Like I could see him growing into Capaldi like years, decades later. So yeah, I thought the episode was pretty good. Like not one of the best that the show has done, but still pretty good.
Yeah, this was like one of the mediocre episodes of this season for me. I was kind of like, yeah, it's all right. I wasn't really too hyped about it, too like big about it. I was like, okay, it's just kind of fine. This kind of story about the kind of the game and these artificial kind of creatures, everything like that, was somewhat interesting. I thought there, and Peter Capaldi, I mean, he's a good veteran actor, so when he does the whole breakdown and the reveal of like his whole plan, I thought that was really good and where it kind of led to there. And it leads to kind of possibly a setup for another sequel episode of this and following this kind of character, which is like, okay, I'd be interested to see that. But it's nothing too exciting. It's nothing like a very memorable episode of Black Mirror, I would say, for me. It just was kind of just, yeah, like you said, in the middle there. But good job at I think showing the past and then showing the future. I think it bounced back between those two things. I think it did a good job there with that. Um, Next up is Eulogy. That's the next episode here. So this is the fifth episode. This is my second favorite episode, I think, of the series for me. And it's another kind of very depressing type episode, much like Common People. You have, first of all, a great actor in Paul Giamatti in this, who's the lead of this. So it involves a man there who has gets a gift, and this gift is like this technology that allows him to basically recreate all his old memories again. It goes through like he's able to kind of like step inside these old photographs, he's able to look at them, and with this technology, they're able to give this whole entire world view of like all the elements of that photograph. He's able to kind of really fully step in and relive all those old memories again. And he's doing that because the funeral of his ex-girlfriend is coming up, and he's trying to decide, the person that invited him to the funeral is trying to decide whether or not he should come or not, and whether or not he has anything to really add anything, or to give there, but, hence the title Eulogy there. And I thought that, great performance from Paul Giamatti, and then the person who's the AI, who's walking him through it, is Patsy Fernan there, who's called the guide in this. And we actually just recently saw her. She was in Mickey 17. She was that in Mickey 17 there as well. And I think she was also really fantastic, and the way they kind of play off each other is really great. So I absolutely really love this episode, and you get to kind of learn about his whole history of with this woman and what happened and everything like that. I thought that was all real well done. Will you get a chance to see this one?
I'm halfway through this one, but so far what I'm seeing, I'm really digging. It's a great concept, and they're doing a lot of good stuff with it, and it's hitting similar to the episode with Chris O'Dowd and Rashida Jones. It's hitting a lot of emotional beats really, really well, and Paul Giamatti is fantastic. Like he's another one of those actors who can elevate basically anything you give him, except for Rhino. I just remembered, but whatever. Let's forget about that. And also Lady in the Water. But let's aside from those two, like he can do basically anything and execute it really well, and that's what he does here. He's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, I love this episode with this one there. I could see it being remembered along with some of the greater Black Mirror episodes. I think it's really that good with it. And yeah, I mean, this technology that really allows you to see this and just to follow the history, because there's like, you think with memory, how memory kind of works. It's like, oh yeah, no, for sure this happened this way and this would happen, but then when you actually able to kind of relive it again, like this opportunity, is like, oh no, wait, it didn't happen like that. And I thought that was kind of really great there, how kind of your memory plays tricks on you there, and you remember it one way and it's not. And I thought that was all excellently well handled. I mean, like you said, Paul Giamatti, excellent veteran actor. And he always usually cashes in a great performance there. So, and it's just mainly him and then the guy. That's basically who you're really seeing through all this episode, and it's really focused on that. which I thought was really great. Yeah, and then to the last episode of this season, which was USS Callister Into Infinity. And were you a big fan of the first one?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and I love the first one as well. That happened in season 6 there. I thought that was really great. It's their Star Trek kind of episode there. It was about these inventors of this game. You had Jesse Plemons there, and you also have Jimmy Simpson. Jimmy Simpson. People I know he was in always a recurring character on Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He was also in Westworld. He was only in I think the first season. Right, he was only just in the first season of that show. And he was in that. And then Jesse Plemons everywhere, Killers of the Flower Moon. He's in, yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff. He was in Breaking Bad. There's evil Aaron Paul there is in that show. So
Game
yeah,
night.
we said what you say?
Game night.
Oh yeah, Game Night as well. He was very funny in that as well in Game Night. And you also have another person from Game Night, Billy Magnuson, who was also in Game Night. You have him in there as well. So you had it where this guy Jesse Plemons was basically being exploited by his friend there. Jesse Simpson plays Walton into making this game, and this game is obviously hugely successful. This USS Callister game, which is basically like a Star Trek game. It's a Star Trek kind of seems like an MMO, but you can go into it in kind of this virtual reality aspect. And we see now the crew there of the people led by Christina Milioti, who we just recently saw, who won a bunch of awards for her performance as Sophia Falcone in the Gotham series. There is leading these crew of people who are replicants of the people that Jesse Plemons worked with at his job that mistreated him, and that he made clones of them, and basically as a way to torture them in this virtual reality game to do that. And she was, now that they killed his character off in the first episode, she's the one leading them and trying to survive in this game, because now they stepped out into the game world when it was just like at first an isolated thing. And in this game world, they're competing against other players trying to kill them. They think they're just other players as well. But if they die there, that's it for them, and they die permanently. So they're trying to find a permanent solution in which they can be safe there. What'd you think about this episode?
Yeah, I really dug this. It's a great follow-up to the first USS Callister episode, and it also expands. It does what a great sequel should do, which is expand on the world that was already established in ways that make you go, "Oh shit." And what this does, in addition to putting your characters through new challenges that they didn't have to go through previously, but yeah, this goes in some directions that are really trippy, and you might initially struggle with at first, because at first I was like, all right, this is pretty good, but it feels kind of all over the place. But then it sort of clicks what the episode is doing, and you realize like, oh, this is like really like expanding the world of this specific episode in a really cool, out there and complicated way that's really working wonders. And yeah, the shit that gets revealed and what these characters end up having to do, and certain alliances that they end up having to make with each other, and certain encounters are really, really cool to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that a lot. And then seeing kind of what happens, because in their effort to try to break out of this way, because you have Christina, who plays kind of a dual role, her in the virtual reality and then her real self in the real world, and trying to kind of work all those things out. That works really well. I think she does great there with that. And it kind of even sets up, I don't know, you think it sets up kind of another sequel episode with this?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I'd be interested to see them kind of close it out with another one of these in the way it ending, which I thought the ending of it was also really good there as well with that. Yeah, this is the third favorite for me of this season, I would say. What about you? Where would you kind of put this one?
Yeah, it's competing with the O'Dowd and Rashida Jones episode for me in terms of the best one. Like that one, I think is more emotionally effective, which might give it a slight edge. But this one is very like intellectually engaging in terms of like the stuff that it does and the new elements that it introduces that weren't present in the previous episode, and it makes you want to see more of this particular side of the Black Mirror multiverse, I guess. Like this is one of the few multiverse things that I'm actually like genuinely like curious about, and I think this episode and a lot of the other episodes are a testament to that, because there are so many different stories and to offer, and different characters for you to sort of get invested in what they're going to do, whether they're a good person or a bad person, which is one of the beauties of the show.
Mm, yeah. Any like kind of big weak spots for you with this episode, or?
Again, at the beginning, I thought it took a little getting used to just because of the structure of it and how many different new elements they were introducing. But once I got my head around it, I really ended up getting into it. So it's not that big a problem.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was strong episode, strong sequel. I think I maybe still prefer the first one more than this one, but still not. I don't think it's not a super lesser version of it, which I think is what you want. Yeah. So I think this is the third best of the season. For the episodes you saw, how would you rank them?
Uh, I would go. I'm getting the list up right now. Number one for me would probably be Common People. Then two would be USS Callister into Infinity. If Eulogy keeps going the way I think it's going to go, I feel like that's going to be either number three or bump its way up to number two. But I'm going to take that off list. Make it simple. Number one is Common People. Number two is USS Calendar. Number three for me is Plaything, and then number four is Betty Noir.
Oh.
So yeah, I've still got an episode and a half to go through, but that's my ranking for right now.
Yeah, for me, I'd go Common People, then I'd go Eulogy. Actually, I'll do Eulogy first, Common People, then USS Callister into Infinity. Then I would go with Plaything. Then I'd go with Hotel Riviera, and then Betty Noir would be the dead last one for me. Is how I would kind of rank them there. So yeah, overall, you think so far you think this is one of the kind of a stronger season, weaker season, middle of the road season of Black Mirror?
I think it's somewhere between middle of the row and higher tier. Like, it's tough to pick a favorite. Like, I think the last season 6, might have been my favorite because there was so much good stuff in each episode. But this is still pretty good season so far.
Yeah. Do you think because I remember it seemed like there used to be a lot of bigger hype about a new season of Black Mirror coming out. Do you think it's lost some of that? Like, you think it's still
Maybe
there?
maybe a little bit. I feel like also because just the way that Netflix works, the seasons do just kind of end up sneaking up on you a lot of the time, and they also release so much stuff at time that it's easy for this to sort of get lost. So I think that plays a big part of it.
Mm, yeah. So yeah, that was our thoughts on Black Mirror. I think overall for me, I think it's more of a kind of a middle of the road season. Like some anthology shows, always it's like episodes. It's gonna be a mixed bag. Like you get some that are really great, some that kind of middle of the road, some are just not that good. I'd kind of give it a like a low, like kind of a lowish kind of middle tune in for me because I think Eulogy, Common People, and US Callister kind of save it from the weaker ones like Hotel Riviera and Betty Noir and kind of just play things there. So I think it kind of saves that. So out of the six, three I really liked, and then you had kind of one I was kind of okay on middle, and then two were kind of for me. So yeah, what would you give? Well, I'll let you finish it, but I don't want you to give a rating there. I'll let you kind of finish the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's get into these trailers and we're gonna head out. Thanks for sticking with me this late night there, Chris, helping me out there. Yadira's on, Purple Wine Tales is on, playing Star Citizen. Hey, are you gonna start playing? Are you doing Dark Ages? That's big right now.
I don't have a console.
Okay. It's on PC.
Mm.
You have
Maybe we'll see. We'll see if I like get around to it. I always promise that I'm going to start getting into gaming again, and then I never do. So
if you have Game Pass, you don't have to pay for actually the full game if you have Game Pass.
okay.
And then also Clear Expedition 31. That's the big one. Also, a lot of people loving. That's also on Game Pass, so you don't have to pay for the full price of that one if you don't want to. But yeah, okay. So let's get into this trailer. I have not seen this trailer for Superman, so it'll be my first reaction with this. I like to have a fresh reaction coming into the show, not watch the trailers beforehand. But this is the latest trailer for Superman, the James Gunn Superman. Let's take a look.
Yeah,
You'd let me interview you as Superman.
sure.
Ready?
Let's do it, Cronkite.
Superman.
Miss Lane.
Recently, you've come under a lot of fire for
I
what
know,
some
it's a
might.
lot of
It's
fire,
a lot.
Have you seen people talk about this scene?
Yeah. I guess we'll get into it once we're done watching the trailer. But there's been some words thrown back and forth.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get into it later.
Today, the Secretary of Defense said he was going to look into your actions. That's funny.
My
And there we see the connection of Creature Commandos because you have this is Rick Flag Sr. He's played by Frank Grillo. His character was also in Creature Commandos in animated form. So it's all about James Gunn and the continuity continuing over all the voice actors who voiced characters in animated shows will play this characters in live action. So we see.
He's going to look into your actions. That's funny.
my actions? I stopped a war.
Maybe.
Not maybe. I did.
In effect, you illegally entered a country.
This is how you're gonna be?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman. Did you consult with the president?
No.
You seemingly acting as a representative of
I
the
wasn't
United States
representing
will cause
anybody
more
except for me.
problems around the world.
And doing good.
I would question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going to die. Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Your choices, your actions. That's what makes you who you are.
Superman. He's not a man. He's an it. He's somehow become the focal point of the entire world's conversation. I will not accept that.
I cleaned your boots. I'll go get them for you.
You have a dog?
What are your thoughts there, Chris?
It looks okay. Again, I'm not someone who is as excited by superhero stuff as I used to be. But this does look like it's got the right approach for a new Superman movie, making him more upbeat and more focused on saving people because that's the right thing to do, and not because he's reluctant or feels like it's his reluctant responsibility or whatever was going on with the Snyder stuff. And I'm someone who's been kind of tired of, not tired necessarily, but starting to notice the James Gunn formula more and more, particularly with his reluctant team up movies. And this looks like it's kind of breaking away from that, and it's not as snarky as some of his other movies. It looks like it's going for a more earnest and optimistic and hopeful tone with a more like genuine and sincere protagonist. So that's enough to be like, all right, I'll give it a shot. I also, even though I like the three actors they have, I am nervous that the Justice Society, whatever they're called, are going to end up being a distraction from what should probably be like the main focus of the movie. And I'm also not sure about like, all right, do I need to watch Creature Commandos in order to watch it? Because like I didn't bother with that show because it just like didn't intrigue me all that much, and it just looked like more of the same gun stuff. But if I hear this is good, I'll give it a shot. Like there's nothing in the trailer that's making me go like, oh, this looks like garbage. It looks all right.
Yeah. What from the trailer are you seeing from like the James Gunn formula? What like trailer wise?
I'm saying it looks like it's a break from that.
Oh,
Is
it's a
what I'm
break
saying.
from. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, it's no. I mean, you don't have a bunch of ragtag misfits joined together. Yeah. And I like Creature Commandos. I like that show. I thought, yes, it is James Gunn doing that thing again, but he can do it well. I mean, it's gonna work. I think until it does,
Sure.
until it doesn't there. And the people you mentioned, the Justice Society, we saw that we have Elizabeth Marcid, who plays Hawkgirl, who she will be in. Her and Nathan Fillion, who plays Guy Gardner. Both of them will be in Peacemaker season 2. Both of them will be there. You also have Mr. Terrific there, who you have that actor Eddie Gathinji there. Gathinji, he plays Mr. Terrific. A lot of the costumes seem very comic book accurate. A lot of people loving that right there with a lot of the costumes in it. You also have Anthony Carrigan, who people might know from Barry. He plays a Metamorpho, which I think is an excellent choice for him, Metamorpho. How do you like Nicholas Hoult as one of the newer incarnations of Lex Luthor there?
It looks like he's doing a good job. He's not channeling any of the other. It doesn't seem like he's channeling necessarily any of the previous Lex actors, particularly not channeling Eisenberg. Like, that's a good thing. And it looks like he's bringing his own sort of menace to the character that is hopefully going to help him stand out from previous Lex actors. Like, I think Michael Rosenbaum and Gene Hackman are like the two sort of different gold standards, at least in live action, for Lex. And Holt's got strong enough chops to where I feel like he could easily match the two of them if the material is there for him.
Yeah. Was it? Oh no, I'm thinking about maybe somebody else. I was gonna say, wasn't he supposed to be also like in a superhero movie with? Wasn't he part of George Miller's Justice League?
Who, Nicholas Holt?
Yeah, or I'm thinking about somebody else. Maybe I'm thinking about somebody
I
else.
don't think so, because he would have been like still a teenager at that point. Like, unless they wanted him for the Flash, which they didn't. Adam Brody was supposed to play that part, I think. No, I don't think he was ever like involved with any of that. You're probably thinking of that just because of him and Miller doing Fury Road.
Maybe, yeah, maybe I'm thinking about that. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'm getting him confused with Jay Baruchel. Maybe I think. Because I think Jay
Yeah, I think it
Baruchel.
was. Yeah, I think it was Baruchel who you're thinking about.
Yeah, because I think in that he was supposed to be the Lex Luthor in that. I think, right?
Mm.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's a solid trailer. I think it's better than the last one. I think it is better than the last one. There, shows a little bit more kind of going on. I do already. I really like the dynamic between David Cornsweet and Rachel Bronson, Lois Lane, and Clark Kent. I do like that already. So it seems like they're not going to waste too much time with, to me, her trying to like. It's pretty much okay. You're Superman. I know you're Superman. They're not going to really do much of that. It seems like maybe in the movie in it. So they're going to do that. And the stuff with his parents there. So both his parents are alive in this. And do you think one of them? You think one of them is going to die, or you think they're going to keep both of them alive?
It doesn't seem like they're going to kill them off. Like, I actually thought, because we didn't see her in the last teaser, I thought they maybe like Martha was dead already and they were just going to show her in flashbacks or whatever. But no, it looks like she's still alive during like the main course of the movie. But I don't think Gunn's gonna kill them like this early, especially because there's been so many versions in the past that have killed either one of them. Mostly Paul, like the Donner movie, Smallville, Man of Steel, all kill him off like towards the beginning. So I feel like Gunn's going to try to break away from that and give him a lot more time and let him live to see his son become Superman this time.
Yeah. And also, James Gunn did stress the tone is going to be different. All these, like, you watch Creature Commandos, it's not going to be the same as when you watch Superman. Superman's not going to be the same as Batman. All of these films are going to have a different tone to them. And I do like, leaning into the, comic book element, the crypto dog. You got the Fortress of Solitude, which basically looks like the Fortress of Solitude from the comics. You got that look down of it, everything like that. So, yeah, I think that's all very strong there. Um, if you had to pick, what do you think is going to be better, Fantastic Four or Superman? Both of them coming out around the same time. You have to put your money on it.
Um, God, maybe Superman. I think just because Gunn has proven his chops more frequently, and it would be kind of weird if this was the first movie he did that was just a complete like that was bad or just a complete unmitigated disaster, because he knows that there's a lot he's got to know that there's a lot riding on this and that he has to deliver the best thing that he possibly can. Whereas Fantastic Four, there's a lot more stuff up in the air, and also Superman is like the start of something new. So I think it's got sort of like a more of a benefit of the doubt going for it. Whereas again, Marvel has been rocky at best lately, and they kind of developed a habit of like overcorrecting on certain things or overemphasizing the wrong things, which I feel like occasionally they'll manage to dodge, like with Thunderbolts, as we've been talking about. Whereas other stuff like, and I haven't even seen it yet, but like Brave New World sounds like it definitely suffers from that, of like overthinking everything. And I worry that Fantastic Four might suffer from the same thing. And
Mm,
also, we haven't had a single good Fantastic Four movie like ever, whereas we've had some good Superman movies. So like there is a basis there,
yeah,
at the very least.
yeah. And I mean, when I remember when that new one was coming out, Fan Four Stick, everyone's like, "Well, it can't be as bad as the Tim Story Fantastic Four movies," and it's like, "Oh shit, it turned out to be
Yeah,
worse."
and I remember I feel like I was the only person on the internet who wanted to give that movie a chance, and I remember going to see it opening weekend, and then when it reveals that like, hey, Ben Grimm got his catchphrase from his older brother Chet Hanks beating the fucking shit out of him while saying that line, I was like, oh, this is gonna be terrible. Like they were right.
Yeah, so that one is really terrible. Yeah, wow. Yeah, so this is good. So July 11th is when this movie comes out, and then Fantastic Four comes out July 25th.
And Jurassic World is the week before, so it's gonna be a crowded month.
Ooh, yeah. You think which movie you think is going to pull away from? You think all three of them are going to pull away from each other, or you think it's going to be equal? Or you think Jurassic World's going to get more of the shaft? Or people love dinosaurs, though. I wouldn't count out Jurassic World, though.
Yeah, even when the movie that they're in isn't actually about them, like fucking Dominion, like even when it's suddenly about bugs, people will still flock in droves to go see it.
Yeah. How much did Dominion? Let me see. How much did Dominion make? I
They
wonder.
all made $1 billion,
Really? Damn, that made $1 billion. Shit.
but that
What?
one I think like barely made it to $1 billion. Like it was
Yeah,
basically like available to rent on digital by the time it hit $1 billion.
yeah. It just like barely crossed $1 billion. It's like $1 billion and 1, almost like $1 billion and 2 million. 1.2 billion there almost. Yeah. So you have that.
It's
I
like the
think.
Star Wars sequels, where the first one made all the money in the world, the second one made a lot of money, pretty close to it, but still not quite the same. And then the third one, there was a noticeable drop, even though, again, it still managed to cross $1 billion.
Yeah. I think maybe the one's gonna get the shortest end of the stick. Maybe I think because there hasn't been a good Fantastic Four movie. Maybe it is Fantastic Four. I think a lot of people are gonna be more skeptical, and people are gonna wait longer to go like, okay, I'm gonna maybe hear from some sources if it's good or not before they go see it, as opposed to Superman. But everybody wants to see Superman. I mean, Superman's pretty easy to see. All right. Next trailer. Since we talk about Marvel, Ironheart. Ironheart is going to be the newest Disney Plus series to come out. A lot of people talking about this. Some for the right reasons, some for the wrong reasons. On this, you do have Riri Williams, who's going to be playing the titular character here. She got shown in Wakanda Forever. And even though I didn't, Dominique Thorne is the actress. And Dominique Thorne, I think, is a very good actress. She was in, I believe, that movie If Beale Street Could Talk. She was in that film, and I recently saw that film, and I thought she
She
was
was in
phenomenal,
that, and also Judas and the Black Messiah.
and she was really great in that as well. So I did love her in both those things. And a lot of people talking about like Marvel is doesn't seem like they're that super confident in this. They waited so late to put out a trailer because this show comes out, I believe, in like uh 45 days, 42 days. So the marketing of it doesn't really seem that hyped about to like, oh hey, we got this new Marvel thing coming out of it. And they, set her character up in Wakanda Forever. And like I said, I like the actress. But it just like she didn't fit in Wakanda Forever. And I thought she was kind of shoehorned in there just to set her up for the Disney Plus thing. I thought her own show, which we're finally getting here. And of course, you know what I mean. It being a character who is replacing a legacy character, she's going to be basically the new type of Iron Man figure there. You do have a lot of kind of racist comments there. Do you know the discussing film. Do you know that page?
Yeah.
So they even had to turn off their comments when they did it, when they did the discussion about it, which
Oh damn.
I've never seen them do that before. Out of all the posts I've ever seen, they usually keep the comments on there, and then when they showed the Ironheart trailer, they had to disable them. There on Twitter, but I mean that's Twitter. I mean, that's pretty much a cesspool of a site there anyway. But yeah, but let's take a look. Let's get our thoughts on it. Like I said, I mean Marvel, it swings back between we're so back to we're so done to we're so back to we're so done. Did you ever watch Daredevil Born Again? Did you watch that or no?
No.
Okay, you thinking about it? You heard some good things, positive things, or
Maybe we'll see.
okay? Let's take a
I've
look.
got a lot of TV that I need to catch up on. Like I still got to watch Andor. Like I haven't even gotten to the first season of that yet. So.
Oh damn! Oh yeah, man, you missing out, man. Damn, Andor's amazing, and season 2 just ended. Yeah.
Hello? For real?
Welcome, Riri. In less than 3 minutes, the air in this elevator will no longer be breathable.
Oh, what is this?
Your interview. You'll suffocate, die unless you break into the device on the floor, where you'll find a gas mask. Good luck.
Screw this.
I heard Riri Williams was a genius. So you in or out? Riri, I see you. I see you're fed up, waiting to be acknowledged for your greatness.
You are not the first genius at MIT.
How come you're not working at one of those fancy tech firms?
After my internship abroad, I want to build something undeniable. Something
Important?
iconic.
I can give you the tools to help you carry out your vision. But anyone who's ever accomplished anything iconic in life has had to do some questionable things to get it done. What will you do, Riri?
You've bitten off a hell of a lot more than you can chew. I could chew a lot. You know nothing about this man.
You're gonna end up dead or in jail.
This is so much bigger than that. This is wild. A shady bunker.
My bunker's not shady.
Would a shady bunker have that on the wall?
It's literally above a crate of self-guided missiles.
I'm returning those.
So, what do you think, Chris?
Whatever. Like,
just whatever, huh?
yeah, kind of. Like, it doesn't look bad per se, and I do like these actors. It does feel very much like a Disney Plus like exclusive thing. Like this, I'm having trouble picturing this ever being in a movie theater. Not in terms of like production quality necessarily, but in terms of like the story it looks like it's telling. It's just kind of like almost sort of like after school special. Like it has that sort of vibe to it, particularly with what it seems like they're doing with the Anthony Ramos character, where it seems like here's what I think is going to happen is like he's gonna be like be the villain, but he's gonna do it in service of like I'm gonna save the hood, so I will become the hood because that's who he's playing. Like I feel like they're gonna do something like that. So yeah, it just looks kind of generic to me.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I need to see another trailer of this. I don't know if they are gonna put another trailer out since it is so close. They might do it maybe in the next couple of weeks there to remind people. They might do like a final trailer or something like that. I mean, you got Dominic Thorne in this. He's Ree Williams. Anthony Ramos, who's playing the Hood. People saw him. He was in Twister. He was also in that movie Transformers: Rise of the Beast. He was in that as well.
In the
And
Heights.
In the Heights was his big breakthrough. Was in the Heights. There was his big breakout role, and I like him in those things. See what he can do here is this role, like you said, the Hood. So it's kind of like he's a magical character there as well. So it's kind of combining technology, magic, and all those kind of forces there. Um, it could maybe work out. You know what I mean? Again, maybe I have to see an episode of it because you could have a good supporting cast with this. Dominic Thorne could really shine as Riri Williams in this. Like I said, even though
Hmm.
I didn't hate her character in Wakanda Forever. I just thought she was shoehorned in and just unnecessary. And I think
Right.
that's kind of one of those Marvel things of like we got to shoehorn this character in because we got to set up their thing, and that kind of dragged down Wakanda Forever because they did that and adding this character in there. Um, the Disney, I did like Born Again. It started off a little rocky for me, but I think it ended pretty nicely. Uh, Again, with these kind of Disney Plus shows, it's always a mixed bag. Sometimes it's, maybe they'll have some good stuff in there, but there'll always be a rush finale, like how most of them are, and then they get to the stumble across the finish line and do that. And not to say, when bringing up if you don't like the show, or you don't, it's like the show is not for me. That's fine to have that opinion. I think that's perfectly fine. That's okay. There's a way to have that opinion. But then obviously there comes that other part of it where you clearly only hate the show or want the show to fail because the lead is, black and because they're doing like the Ironheart character is a replacement for Iron Man and it's like,
Yes.
a legacy mantle kind of changing character there and doing that. Like people say, well, I can't criticize the show. You can criticize the show. That's not the problem. You can not like the show. You can think the show doesn't look good. That doesn't an issue. But this insistent, wanting the show to fail or hatred towards the show or whatever, that's something totally different. And that's a totally different thing there. So that's the problem there with this. And when these kind of things happen, is Disney, Marvel, are they doing enough to protect their actors from this? Because you saw this.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you saw what happened with Calamari Tran, John Boyega, even recently. I know this isn't the. Well, yeah, that is Disney. Snow White with Rachel Ziegler,
Yeah.
all that. It's just like, I mean, what do you
Halle
really?
Berry too, I think, right?
Who?
Halle Bailey.
Oh yeah, Haley Bailey there as well. When she played Little Mermaid Ariel, that and it's just like, I mean, what are you really doing for these actors there? And when they get this type of hatred online there, like what are you really doing to support them and show them and to really put them out there to show like we do really care about these actors and we do want this to succeed. Do you think? I mean, I know you don't probably follow, like I said, you don't follow Marvel stuff as much anymore, but is this show do you think it's been kinda buried and kinda like, "Oh, yeah, we're gonna put out Ironheart June 24th. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go watch it." Do you think it's kinda just been just kinda sneaked off to just go die, you think, by Marvel?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like I feel like they're hoping to get more of attention to it just by plastering Ryan Coogler's name on it. Like, I don't know how involved he actually was in the show, but I feel like, especially now with Sinners being so huge, I feel like they're trying to fall back on that to be like, okay, we'll just kind of do whatever with the trailer. It is what it is, but like maybe we can get people to watch it based off of him. But like, yeah, it just kind of feels like, all right, it's here, we got to put it out, so let's just throw a bunch of shit together and hope that people like respond to it. And so far, it's just kind of like, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kinda just the feeling of it. It's kinda just like, "Eh, whatever." I mean, I'm not that super excited about the show, myself even there, but I mean, I'm gonna watch because I have to watch it anyway because I gotta review it, but, if I wasn't reviewing it, would I be that interested to see it? Probably not. I'll be honest with you there with that. But hey, I'm open to being surprised. I was surprised with Thunderbolts. I think that turned out really well, and there's a chance that may happen there with that. And there's some stuff I like about it with that. Um, but yeah, like I said, I mean, they did a good job with bringing back Born Again. I am excited to see it second season of that. So maybe they can get a trend of there now that they've gotten past the phase of the COVID Marvel stuff there and are more focused on quality over quantity. We're not just going to keep pumping out this stuff. We're going to try to do more better job at checking it, making sure it's good, making sure it's ready to be put out. But I do think that it seems like they don't have a lot of faith in this and they aren't marketing this to the extent that they could be marketing this. And I do think a little bit with the Ryan Coogler thing. Yes, he's the executive producer on this, and they're trying to put it like plastered on there real big. Because you even look at it like executive producer Ryan Coogler, you know what I mean? Like they're trying to really do that right
Which they
there.
don't usually do. Marvel doesn't usually like to highlight like specific filmmakers that are involved with it because usually they feel like the brand is enough. Like I feel like I can count on one hand the amount of times they have done that. Like they really went hard on Chloe Zhao being the director on Eternals. I remember like from Academy Award winning director Chloe Zhao, and they also did it with Sam Raimi on Doctor Strange, and I think with James Gunn on Guardians 3, and did they also do it again with Coogler on Wakanda Forever? I can't remember, but yeah, it's really rare that they do that.
Yeah. And maybe you're right because of the recent big success of Sinners, cost $300 million. I think it's the highest grossing original film in a decade. It's one of the highest grossing R-rated films, horror films ever. So his name is really big right now, and people are like, oh, let's pump Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler, his name is
Yeah.
hot right now.
Contrary to what a lot of an alarming number of publications said, it has managed to cross $300 million. So it has broken even and then some, fuckers.
Yeah. So it's been super successful. There. How many times have you seen Sinners? Have you seen it twice or 3 times? Or?
I've only seen it the once, but it is a movie that I've really enjoyed and I want to see it again.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what that June 24th. We'll do a review for that. All right, we'll head out of here. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for joining me, man. Thanks for sticking with me this late night 3-hour stream, long stream there. Hopefully you can get some good night's sleep. Wake up tomorrow for work.
Yeah. The second we're done here, I am running to my bed, and then I'm gonna rewatch Mission Impossible. Actually, so I'm delaying my bedtime even further because I want to squeeze that in. Like, I want to do a mission a day before going to bed, so to prep up for the final reckoning. So I'm gonna do that and then bedtime. Like, I'm thankfully there's very little opportunity for me to fall asleep at work today because I never get to sit down except for lunch. I'm always on my feet, so I've got that going for me at least.
Yeah. Which one are you on now?
I haven't started yet. I'm gonna do the first one once we're done here.
Oh, you're gonna do the very first one. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I was planning on doing a retro one for it since Final Reckoning's coming out. I was gonna do Fallout. I think that's winning right now on my poll there. So I do that one. Which I think Fallout is maybe the best one out of, I think, all the Mission Impossible movies. What would you say is the best one?
There's a debate to be had. That one's great. 4 is great. I also really like 3, and 5 is really good too. Like those 4, like sort of like rattle in my head as to which one comes out on top.
Yeah, 5 was that Rogue Nation?
Yes.
And then 4 was
Ghost Protocol, Brad Bird.
Ghost Protocol. Oh yeah, that's a really good one too. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think the weakest one is 2?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I would question someone's sanity if they said that 2 was like not the worst or even the best.
What do you think is the second worst?
God, maybe 7 or maybe 1, like one of those 2. And like honestly, I think 2 is the only like bad one. Everything else ranges from solid to fucking great.
Yeah. Yeah, after 2 I would say 1, and then after that I'd say probably Dead Reckoning would probably be. And yeah, and Dead Reckoning's not bad. I just think
it's half a movie. That's the thing.
Yeah. All right, I'll go raid Yadira. She's doing a subathon there, so go support her if you can. Thank you, Hunter, from the Real Pineapple. Thank you, Andrew, from Give Them an Argument with Ben Burgess. Thank you, Nick. Chris, one more time, let people know where they can find what you got going on. What you got coming up next, man?
Find me talking movies and sharing videos of animals and food and shit on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd at Air Force or Air Force One, depending on the platform.
Very nice. Next stream, I got Sage, rated infant maturity. He's going to be coming on, helping me review Devil May Cry, the anime series, helping me review Batman Forever in tribute to Val Kilmer. He's also gonna have Tim, who's also a co-host on Rated Infant Maturity, his channel, is going to be reviewed Lives of P, and then Claire Obscure Expedition 31. That mouthful of a fucking title. There, and also Friday, I'm gonna have maybe Nick and Dust can join me, and then we'll do reviews for Finally Reacher. We'll do a review for Lilo and Stitch, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, Until Dawn, and Hurry Up Tomorrow. Are you interested in Friendship? Also, the A24 movie. I'm really excited to see Friendship. There. Are you gonna try? Are you out of curiosity? You're gonna try to see Hurry Up Tomorrow, given all the bad reviews it's getting?
I will see it when I do not have to pay money for it. I want to use my money on stuff that I think has a chance of being good.
Fair, fair is the other thing there. I'm seeing that tomorrow. I'm seeing it tomorrow. So I can't wait. I'm hearing some really terrible things about it. I hear it's basically, I guess it's him trying to do his version of Purple Rain, I guess.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, Yadira. I will send you all over to her. Yeah. So everybody out there, stay tuned. Have a good night. Take care. See ya.